Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
Welcome to Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network. I am filling in once again for Neil Rule. And as always, my guy, Sam Stick Day, filling in for D-Mac, four-time Stanley Cup champion. Hi, and how you doing, Stick, today?
I'm doing well. Still zero-time Stanley Cup champion, Stick.
It's all right.
Not one.
Hey, technically we're all zero-time Stanley Cup champions.
But as a network, we have 4 cups, which is pretty amazing.
See, collectively, we claim D-Mac's 4 cups.
Of course we do.
So Woodward Sports has 4 cups, don't forget it. Joining us, as usual, in the producer booth, Spencer Raxter, 50% of the Woodward heavyweights. How you doing, Spence?
I'm doing pretty good. Still pretty tired, but...
I'll say you had a good weekend, which we're going to get into it. I want to ask you about your experience at Comerica. And last but not least, Sam Flannel, the legend killer. How you doing today, Sam?
I'm doing great, man. All I know is that my next birthday, I'm going to La Chiche. What they did for Fish, that was lit AF. Stick, Jeff, you can back me up on that. Fish, I know you enjoyed it, even if you'll never admit it. That was fun. Like, the production they had, the birthday song, that's my favorite birthday song I've ever heard in my entire life.
And
I put this on my Twitter. I don't like to say happy birthday at restaurants because I don't need people to say happy birthday, happy year. It's like
They turned down the lights, though. They threw on that Arabic music, and it was happy birthday, Fish. Happy birthday, Fish. Happy birthday, Fish. And he's holding a sparkler. It was amazing.
no, you were feeling it, Fish. Don't lie.
I don't need that. Like,
We do. We need that.
No, yeah, we do.
and you got what you wanted.
I did get one.
Are you glad it happened, Fish? That's all that matters. Did you have a good time?
Oh, I had a good time.
You had a good birthday.
I did have a good birthday. It was nice. It was exciting. I did everything I wanted to. I had ice cream at 2 in the morning. How do you not?
How do you not?
Hey, you had ice cream at 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
What, Stick, what were you guys doing
Which, by
together?
the way, I bought at I think I bought it 2 weeks ago.
What were you giving him?
Saving it.
So you had freezer burn ice cream on your birthday? Hell
Well,
yeah.
it wasn't freezer burn. It was only in there for it's like the little mini pints.
No, I got lucky
It's not
and
a
I was
pint,
able to
though.
spend the majority of the day with Fish yesterday.
Did you take him over to Jars?
I tried to take him to a strip club yesterday.
You
We
did?
tried to take him to a dispensary.
Not gonna happen. Good luck.
He wasn't about that life, but
Nope.
either way, he came over. We had a party over in Kego Harbor.
Harbor,
He
on
came
the
over to Kego Harbor. We hung out there, and then we drove to Dearborn to have the team dinner at La Chiche with everybody. Then we drove back to Kego Harbor. Me and Fish played some cornhole. Which Fish's family is world-renowned cornhole players. I did not know
no,
this.
I didn't say world renowned. We just have a Labor Day tournament we do.
Oh.
So I know how to play cornhole.
That's still more than, a lot of people. Like, not everyone has a cornhole tournament, so your family's pretty good.
But people do it at tailgates.
Well,
We got our ass
Like
kicked.
cornhole is a big thing at tailgates.
Me and Fish got
Massive
our
at
ass
tailgates.
kicked, though, by the Westfalls.
the Westfalls.
Yeah, the Westfalls murdered us.
Murdered us.
Who was the Westfalls? It was Alex and who else?
His brother.
His brother.
Are you guys, Alex? Are you guys good at cornhole? And
His brother's a good
You guys just
golfer,
weren't
too.
I got Westfall drunk, though, for Fish's birthday. It was fun. Drunk Westfall is one of my new favorite people, by the way.
Oh, I bet. I
He
can't
laughs
imagine.
so hard when he's drunk. It's so awesome.
If you guys don't already, our guy Alex Westfall, producer for the Morning Woodward Show, I gotta see this man completely plastered. And of course, Fish yesterday got to see him. But I'm glad you had a good day, Fish.
I didn't
really
feel
am.
like he was drunk. Did I just not notice?
He was buzzed up, man.
Buzzed up.
Buzzed up.
He says that's fair. He admitted. He said that's fair. But yeah, we had a great day with Fish. We went to La Chiche with most of the company. Some people were not there, but it was a blast. We got to celebrate Fish's birthday as well. And another thing that Spencer got to do is you got to check out Shohei Ohtani
Yeah.
at Comerica. How was that?
Yeah, it was dope. We like I said, you guys know, me and my brothers bought tickets for my dad for his 70th birthday, and we took him there. It just happened to be Shohei Day, so Shohei was on the mound. We got to see him and Mike Trout. Tigers got the win. Riley Green went yard in the first pitch of the game.
Yeah, then he had a diving catch in the outfield.
diving catch in the outfield. It was the longest home run hit off Ohtani in his career.
450 feet.
450 feet, and some dude bought me a beer, and it was pretty cool. The guy brought it down, he gave it to me. He's like, "This is from the guy up there." I turned around, he's like, "Heavyweight."
Yeah, and that's a $25 investment, man. That's not a cheap beer.
No, it was hype. Shout out Dylan for hooking me up with the beer. He might hook me up with some Lions tickets too, so we might week 2 against the Commanders, go check them out.
Heavyweight's already paying off for you, buddy.
I was gonna say, if someone buys you a beer at Comerica, or even Ford Field for that matter, that's real. Like, you're spending $8 to $10 on a man. So shout out to the man who hooked up the heavyweights.
Dylan. His name was Dylan.
Shout out to Dylan.
I would have loved if he sent Spencer one of those frozen drinks that are like a foot tall. Spencer's drinking out of the straw.
Dude, I would pay money to see that.
It's summer shandy. Send me summer shandy.
And speaking of the Tigers, they played the Angels. They won the series 2-1. And yesterday, you kind of mentioned it already, Riley Green crushed a 450-foot homer off Shohei Ohtani, who left the game due to stomach issues. But still, you can at least take a lot of things out of yesterday. Erod was back. He played, pretty well. A guy that has been MIA, and it seems like Al Avila gets fired, and Erod just arises from the back.
It's funny how that works, isn't it? Yeah. Like, I'm just going to go MIA until the asshole leaves.
And then I'm back. and
then I'm back.
Playing well.
Sorry, Sam.
No, but has the recency of the Tigers have been playing better, has it changed anything for you? Like, in terms of how you look at this season, it's still a wash.
No, it was one game yesterday. That was like that.
Okay, just making sure.
I mean, it's nice that we could say nice things about the Tigers.
Right.
Like, I like being able to do that, but yeah, I'm still not catching it. I don't even know when their next game is. I don't know who their starting rotation is. Yeah, traditionally when the Tigers are good, like, I know all 5 starters. I know our bullpen. I know the backup catcher. I don't know any of that this year, and it's not because I don't like baseball. It's just I haven't watched enough games, and honestly, they haven't given me enough to watch, because every time I turn it on, I'm like, why the hell did I even turn this on? But yesterday, I caught the first inning. I caught Riley Green's home run, and then I saw him make that diving catch in the outfield, and I was like, okay, cool, Riley Green's awesome.
You got your
next
fix.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm rocking my Ty Cobb shirt today.
Oh, of course. How can you not?
I love the Tigers. Just this team, it's too late in the year. Let's focus on next year. But like I said, it's nice to say nice things about the Tigers today.
No, you're right. And Stick, out of all people, you'll tell it like it is. You're a diehard fan, but listen, you just don't like the product on the field, and I can't deny that. The product hasn't been very good. But a product that has been at least better, the Lions. They get a win on Saturday against the Colts. And I was watching the game, and I'm going to be honest with you, when the Colts scored late, and they went for 2. Am I the only one who was sitting there like, here we go. They're about to complete this 2-point conversion. We're going to lose. I had that slight Lions, like, it's always buried in me that I always doubt everything. But then I saw what happened. The Lions got out with a win. But a couple takeaways I had, and we're going to get in next topic. We're going to get into Tom Kennedy. We're going to get into all the people that love Tom Kennedy. And listen, how can you not? The guy had 2 touchdowns on Saturday.
How do you not?
But we got to get a little realistic for a second. And me and Stick are going to break it down for you. But just watching the game, Stick, to see Dan Campbell, to get their first win this preseason.
Yep.
What'd you take away from it?
My immediate takeaway was good. This is good. I mean, like, none of the starters played, right? That's one thing that I was shocked at, because normally in your second preseason game, your starters get a little longer run. Mm-hmm. The first game, you usually give them a quarter or a drive. Then the next game, you'll give them a complete half. But I turned on the game at 1 o'clock. Luckily, Fish gave me the inside report that Aiden Hutchinson wasn't playing. But outside of that, I was like, who the hell's playing in this game? Right. I don't know. Oh, look at this. Magic. My phone appears. Thank you, Adam. But yeah, take it away from the game. I was out here at the Woodward Dream Cruise.
Yeah,
all
how
day
was that,
Saturday.
by the way?
It was amazing. We set up a little tent. We gave away that Gypsy Vodka mulligan bag. We were doing a putting contest out there, which got pretty raucous. A bunch of some buzzed up dudes chirping each other while they're trying to make 3 putts in a row. So I was watching the game on my phone.
Okay.
And so I'm standing out there. But, yeah, the first drive, I'm like, where the hell are the starters? I really wanted to see the offensive line again. I really wanted to see Jared Goff, and I really wanted to see Swaggy. I really wanted to see Swift. Luckily, I got a heavy dose of Josh Reynolds. We got a heavy dose of the running back.
Just Justin Jackson.
Craig Reynolds.
Craig Reynolds. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Spence.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, he was doing everything that Deuce Staley wanted Swift to do, right? That dude was busting it up the middle every single play. And even our backup linemen were dominating a little bit. So I was happy to watch the game. I want to start. I want real football. The backups are nice, but I want real football.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you anymore. And one thing that sparked another conversation that's been a conversation is between the backup quarterback position. And you got to see Tim Boyle, David Blau, again, battle it out in the preseason. You got to see 2 guys play some series. And I want to go around. I want to ask you guys, and you could kind of put this poll in the chat as well, Spence. Who's QB2? Tim Boyle, David Blau. And this conversation to me is, listen, both of them can go. That's how I feel about it. They're both not very good, but if I had to pick one of the 2, who's better at throwing the football, who can be more accurate throwing the football, to me, it's Tim Boyle, and I trust him. He at least started some games for us last year. But I do want to go to Sam first, because, Sam, you're the voice of reason. And I'm going to ask you, man, out of these two, who's QB2? Tim Boyle, David Blau?
I mean, the easy answer is I don't think it matters, but that's a cop-out. That's a
cop-out. I agree with you, though.
You know what? I'm going to go with Tim Boyle. Honestly, David Blau, 16 completions for 76 yards. I know it's preseason, but that is an eyesore for football. It takes the forward pass back 50 years with that disgrace. I don't want to see it. I want someone who can actually push the ball down the field, even though I'm not saying Tim Boyle's good or anything, but we've at least seen that he has an arm. He pushes the ball down the field. And David Blau, God, that was awful. I never want to see that again.
What about you, Spence? Where are you at right now on it?
Who cares?
Yeah, right. That's the real thing.
I'm gonna probably go Boyle just because he has the bigger arm, and David Blau looks like he's had a little turnover problem so far this preseason. Obviously, we know the fumble he had in the first game. He had an interception in this game, and he lost the ball. They got it back, but he still, put it on the ground. So that's the big thing, is you can't turn the ball over, especially if you're only going for 67 yards on 16 attempts. But it's different because Blau can use his legs a little bit, but it's like which turd smells worse.
And that's, you know what, I'm glad you segued to that, because Jake said in the chat, it's like asking which turd stinks less. Like at this point, and listen, Tim Boyle, 12 for 15, 99 yards, he had basically 7 yards per attempt, had 116 quarterback rating. David Blau, like Sam kind of alluded to, 16 attempts, or completions, for 76 yards. He had 3.5 yards per attempt, Stick. So I'm going to take it to you. Who's your QB2 right now?
Mason Rudolph, baby. We get to see him next week. After the first week, I thought Blau was just pretty much done. Boyle's our backup quarterback. He was last year. He's always been number 2 on the depth chart, really. He's got the better arm.
He does.
He doesn't have the better legs, and that's the one thing Blau has over him. But watching the game, I was just happy Blau didn't screw up again, and we don't have to follow that another storyline through Hard Knocks tomorrow. I don't know. It's tough, but the fact that we've had so much conversation over the backup quarterback this preseason,
when none of it matters,
to me it just shows that the Lions have evolved, right? Like we're past, we know who our starters are, and we're debating on offense backup quarterbacks. Yeah. That's a good position to be in, but I thought Adam brought up a great point last week. All right, who was the Rams backup last year?
Can't think of it.
You can't think of it. I mean, you can't name any backup essentially in the league. Maybe a couple of them because they got some run, but none of the great teams you can name their backup quarterback. So who the hell cares?
No.
We hope we never see those guys ever on the field. In an ideal world, the only time they get out there is when we're up 35-0 and they take a couple kneel downs in the end.
That's it.
That's all I want to see out of my backup quarterback. And, we could throw it back to the old Joey Harrington, Mike McMahon days. And when you're fighting back and forth, oh, Harrington sucks, put in McMahon. You put in McMahon. Oh, McMahon sucks, put Harrington back in. I'm just glad we're not in that situation where we're trying to figure out who the starter is.
No, I agree completely. And I also think that if Jared goes down, regardless of who you bring in, your season's over.
We're done.
Your season's over.
Yeah.
So it does not matter.
And how does that feel, Lions fans? We are all in on Jared Goff.
Yes.
That's it. Whether you liked him or not last year, it doesn't matter. You need to root for this guy to win, period. Because, like I've said this before, it's like rooting for the pilot of your plane to suck. You don't want to go down.
No, you don't.
Even if you don't like the pilot, you want him to do his job.
That's a great comparison. And listen, the chat poll right now, who is QB2? Boyle, 37%, Blau, 63%. I think a lot of that has to do with just people liking Blau as the person. Blau is easy to like.
And he's got a hot wife.
You're not. Hey, listen.
Hot Colombian wife.
You said it, not me, Spence. We do want to get to break, but when we come back, we're going to get into some takeaways from the Lions game. But before we do, we got to hear about our friends from Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness is inviting all high school teens between the ages of 14 and 19 to work out for free all summer long via the High School Summer Pass, and it goes all the way until August 31st. And Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone, where you can get a membership for only $10 a month, or you can get the black card for $24.99 per month. Join today in club or online at planetfitness.com. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG. If you have a big construction project or something little that you want to do in your backyard but just seems overwhelming, you're like, I don't have the right equipment, I need a whole backhoe to clean out my backyard, but I can't do it by myself, well, one place you can go, Alta, because uptime matters. It'll save you time if you have the right equipment, because life is too short to use the wrong equipment. So if you're looking for something for a big project or a little project, make sure you go to Alta. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA. If you want to give them a call, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. Alta, where uptime matters.
Big D energy back here on a Monday.
Big D!
It's Jeff Iafrate, Sam Stick Day, filling in for Neil Rule and Darren McCarty. They won't be back tomorrow.
They're golfing at the DCFC outing today.
They are. And
I
Neil,
went to the DCFC game this weekend.
How was it?
It was fun, man. I mean, the team they were playing, I believe they were from Louisville. They cheated and won. That's the one thing I like. I like going to sporting events, but soccer's so weird, man.
Yeah.
This guy faked an injury, got a penalty kick, and that was the only goal of the game, and they won. It was awful.
I feel like we got to get Fish kind of left the studio, but I'd love to ask him. Like, that's kind of the problem. I feel like in soccer is the flopping.
You see it in basketball too, though. I mean, it transitions, but
You're right.
In basketball, it may decide the next couple plays, like, oh, he took a flop, this guy fouls out. But in soccer, one goal is a lot.
That's it. Yeah.
It's a lot. But if you've never been down to Keyworth Stadium, I'm telling you, go down there for a DCFC game. Mm-hmm. They had great drinks, great food trucks going on. The fans are insane. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but like I said, I just love the experience down there. So we got to go as a unit down there too.
Oh, definitely.
It's so fun.
Definitely, they got things going down over there at Keyworth Stadium. So, and this show, Big D Energy, we're pro DCFC. Yeah. All right, we love DCFC.
But they're the winningest franchise in the city right now.
Only team right now to be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they really are.
Gotta love them.
But I do want to get into the Detroit Lions. Some takeaways we had from the second preseason game versus the Colts. The depth, I think, is what stood out to me. One thing that I took away in watching the game is this offensive line, although the starters weren't there, they were moving dudes.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about the depth we have. In the running backs, you mentioned it. Justin Jackson, you had Craig Reynolds, Godwin. These guys, and I'll go through it. Justin Jackson, for example, 7.7 yards per carry. Craig Reynolds, 5.3 yards per carry. Godwin, almost 5 yards per carry and a touchdown. Like, these guys were, eating yards up. And that's what I took from it. I think Deuce Staley's been doing a hell of a job. Hank Fraley, those two are fantastic coaches. But before I dive into it a little more, I do want to get your opinion on the Stick. Some more takeaways you've had from just watching the Lions win against the Colts on Saturday.
Well, you kind of brought up what I was going to talk about. Like, it's more now, it may not even be about our talent. We may have a good scheme.
Yeah.
We're seeing Ben Johnson's offense come to life because it seems like whoever they place in those positions are succeeding and doing well. And you look over to the running back position, we kind of saw that at the end of last year. It didn't really matter who was running that ball behind that offensive line. They were picking up 3, 4, 5-yard chunk plays every single time they touched the ball. Very few negative plays, so you can keep your timing on your down and distance. I'm excited for what this team is doing. We got great reports out of the dual practice last week about how our offensive line was absolutely dominating. Mm-hmm. We had some reports early in the week last week how the defense was getting blown off the ball and they had a rough Monday, but by the end of the week, everything kind of became right, and then you kind of saw it transition into the preseason game. They didn't give up a run over 5 yards. Not one run over 5 yards. And granted, we'll take it with a grain of salt because it is the backups, right?
Right.
It is the backups. But we're getting into the scheme thing that I was talking about. Because one of my main questions coming into the preseason is, what is our offense going to look like? We really didn't see what Ben Johnson's calling card was. We didn't see what Dan Campbell was because he was Wild Wild West going for it on 4th down. I don't care. Pew, pew, pew. Let's go for it. Dan Campbell was great last year with that, but I really didn't get a vibe of exactly what we were going to be. Now you know we're going to be a run-first offense. Mm-hmm. We're going to be a pound-you-in-the-face offense, and then we're going to run play action off that and hopefully open the top off the defense. So it's nice to see it work with the backup players. I can't wait till we get the full guys in there. But, yeah, when we're talking about running backs and how it's more on the offensive line now, like I think we're to the point DeAndre Swift's awesome. Swaggy's awesome. But if those guys go down, we're not as concerned because we know we can slide a Craig Reynolds in who can pick up yardage. It may not be as explosive as a DeAndre Swift, but we're not caught with nobody anymore.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think one thing I took away from it on top of that, and listen, guys, like the preseason win, I'm not too concerned about. Like, I'm sorry, I got to bring this up. We got to bring this up every preseason, so prepare. The Lions were 4-0 when they went 0-16. Yeah. So I got to bring that up. But Terry mentioned something very important on the morning show. And he said, I think preseason means more to the coaches than the players. Because regardless of who's in the game, the coaches have to do their job in getting these guys in the best position. And you mentioned Ben Johnson, one of my guys, my favorite guys on this team entirely. And I think Ben Johnson, what you saw is kind of that shade of, and I'm not saying these coaches, but his style, the Shanahan, the McVay, that establishing the run and opening up everything else through play action. I think that's where Jared Goff's going to strive. Another thing you got to see is that secondary struggle a little bit. Sam Ehlinger had 2 touchdowns. But it's that D-line, and you brought it up. Like the depth, Austin Bryant played well, Eric Banks played well, and these guys probably won't see much time come the regular season. But it's the depth is what stood out to me. But Spence, what are some things that watching the game that kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, like you said, the D-line, the guys stepping up that you need to, Frank Kaminsky, Austin Bryant, guys like that. And I mean, other than the struggling quarterback situation, it's, like you said, trying to establish the run. That's what Dan Campbell said he wants. He wants to be a run-first team. He wants to use that strength of this team, which is the offensive line, to, first of all, dictate the flow of the game. Second of all, keep the other team's offense off of the field for as long as possible and set up the play action, to which we know Jared Goff has success. When Jared Goff...
That's when he's at his best.
Yeah, is when he had Todd Gurley running, and he was able to pull it out of Todd Gurley's gut.
Even after the Todd Gurley days, like the year before we got Jared Goff here, he was the #1 quarterback off play action when it came to QBR. So, like, that's his strength, man. That's really his strength.
No, you're absolutely right. That's why I think Ben Johnson, that's going to be his calling card. With Jared Goff, that's where he's going to find success. But Spence, was that it? I didn't know. I didn't want to interrupt you. Okay. And I feel like I didn't want to cut him off there. But one thing, and I see the people in the chat chiming in as well. Scott says, Jeff, me and my uncle are having a debate on if Jameson Williams and if he will be the #1 receiver with the injury. And yes, I know that is the ACL is not that bad anymore. Help us settle this. Yeah, listen, I'll settle it. Jameson's going to be the #1 when he's healthy. So that's how it works. He has the talent to be. So that's my opinion on that. But before I go to the chat, because I do want to get into some of these comments, Sam, watching the game against the Colts, what are some things that you kind of that stood out to you personally?
Well, of course you take it with a grain of salt because it was just preseason. The backups were playing. But Stick, you mentioned something that I don't think is getting talked about enough. The scheme. The backup running backs were in, and the backup offensive line, and every single one of the backup running backs, string 3 through 6, they all ate. They all had 7 carries for the Jamar Jefferson had 3.6 and Justin Jackson 7.7. Those were like the low end and the high end, and that is really damn good. They were just gashing them up the middle. And another player that we've kind of mentioned in passing that I think he showed out, and I think he could be important. What about Austin Bryant? He's just another guy that can maybe rush the passer. He had 4.5 sacks last year. Third on the team. I know that the defensive line is a lot deeper this year and a lot better, you would think. But Austin Bryant's one of those guys that can provide that depth on the defensive line because you can never have enough pass rushers. Because that's the quickest way to win. If you can rush the passer and rattle the quarterback and sack him from time to time, hit him. But also, one thing that gave me a little bit of cause for pause was that secondary. Specifically, Kirby Joseph. Kirby Joseph did not play well at all. He gave up that 50-yard touchdown pass where he was just like beaten. He looked like he was lost. Even though he had a lot of tackles, he was kind of the after a 15-yard completion tackle merchant. That really doesn't mean a whole lot. So that's what kind of concerns me a little bit. But it was a good preseason game. You can't take too much from it because they're all backups, and a lot of these people you hope don't see the field very often. But still, it was nice to see at least the backup offensive line, running game, Austin Bryant, guys like that play well because injuries happen. It's the NFL, so they might see the field. So that to me is what was important.
And I'm glad you brought up Kirby Joseph because that's the point of the preseason, I think, for these guys to get reps. And another thing, and like you mentioned, we talk about the secondary and the secondary struggling. Listen, guys, like none of these guys are going to play week 1. So that's not really, I'm not saying, we're analyzing this preseason game to an extent. You're not taking a lot from it. But the things we can all mutually agree on is that offensive line depth, that defensive line depth, the run game, and just the scheme itself. That's what you could take away from it. And again, it's always good just to get a win. I mean, to prove to these guys that what you're working on can translate and you can get a win. That's all I'm looking for. What translates to the NFL in week 1? That's it.
You want that monkey off your back, right? You don't want to be going into trying to figure out how to win, never getting that. But it's preseason, and that was part of my video on Twitter, too. Because last week when they blew the lead, it was, it's same old lines. It's like, those are the fourth-string guys. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah. And it's a preseason game. But this week, they hold them off at the end, and the same old Lions fans aren't saying, they're the different Lions this week because – they're damned if they do and damned if they don't, right? And I hate those same old Lions fans because of that. It's preseason. You can't hold the fourth stringers accountable for what the starters are going to do in the regular season. Good to get the win. They held them off at the end. Colts didn't have to go for 2. In the regular season, they're kicking that field goal and taking it, or they're kicking the extra point and taking us to overtime, right? It is what it is. I'm glad they won, but the wins or losses mean absolutely nothing to me in the preseason. It's how the starters do, do we stay healthy, and what the scheme looks like. Outside of that, I don't care.
Yeah, and staying healthy is important.
That's the most important.
You saw what happened to Kayvon Thibodeau 2 days ago with that. I don't know if you call it. I mean, it is kind of dirty, but it's just unfortunate for him to hurt his knee. But D. Smitty says Kirby Joseph was in man-to-man on that touchdown and passed that man to the left side and had to recover when there was a miscommunication. Simple rookie mistake. And, yeah, that's what it is. Like, is Kirby Joseph... can I criticize everything in the preseason? No. I think eventually, he's going to be a good player. He's going to be a starter.
Yeah, and this is where you learn. This is where Kirby Joseph gets those. This is where you want him to get burnt.
Rather than
in the regular season, just like Aiden Hutchinson on that first play last week. This is when you want him to learn, damn, this is the NFL. I got to contain no matter what, even if I think it's a run, because this mobile quarterback can get around the edge a lot faster than anybody I've come up with in college. But then he learned the very next play. Like, this is what the preseason is for. It's to get these guys acclimated to not only the speed of the game, the size of the game, but the scheme of the game. And I keep saying that word today, but it's a whole different ball game when you're trying to be a cornerback in the NFL. Like the offensive plays that they run are so much more in-depth. They're designed to confuse. They're designed to get people in open spaces. And Kirby Joseph needs to be experienced in those things because we test him now and get him out there in the regular season. Hopefully he's learned.
Yeah, it's not like Kirby Joseph was out there playing drunk or he was drinking some of that mulligan from Gypsy Vodka. Because I'm telling you, if he was drinking that 8% mulligan, he would be, you could tell on that field. And I'll tell you about the mulligan because it's the official drink of the summer, and the mulligan made with Gypsy Vodka. When you're out on the golf course like D. Mac and Neil today or hanging in the backyard, the mulligan is calling your name. Ask for the mulligan at your local golf course or at a Total Wine near you.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Ciabattas, summer salads, and dip shakes. All at Big Boy. Try a chicken club, chicken cordon bleu, or sunrise ham and cheddar. All on our grilled ciabatta bread. Or keep it light with our Michigan apple, chicken Caesar, or Greek salad. And don't forget to cool off with a frosty hand-dipped cookies and cream or strawberry shake. You heard it here first. Summer just got better.
Jeff Iafrate here, and I'm going to tell you about Chili Peppers Tanning. Join the Pepper Club at Chili Peppers Tanning. You'll get all of the best deals, plus they will beat all competitors by $5. Chili Peppers has the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans. 26 locations and more on the way. Welcome back. Big D Energy here, back like we never left. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Stick Day, filling in for Neil Rule and Darren McCarty. And I want to continue the conversation on the Detroit Lions. Specifically, we're going to get into Tom Kennedy because, listen, Lions fans love themselves some Tom Kennedy. And I feel like every preseason there's always one guy.
There's a darling.
There's always a darling. Yeah. And last year, not even from the Lions fan base, but it was Trinity Benson in the preseason for the Broncos. We traded for Trinity Benson, and you know how that worked out.
He had a nice catch.
Nice catch.
Nice catch this week.
It had some nice plays. I just kind of threw a stray at Trinity Benson there. But I do want to get into Tom Kennedy. I know, I've been on Twitter over the weekend, and I know people are excited. He played well. He caught 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. But the question, and me and Stick, we were kind of chopping it up before the show, and I think a very important question to ask, and I'll ask the people, and I'll go around the room and get everyone's opinion on it. If you actually believe that Tom Kennedy is going to make the roster, my question to you would be, what wide receiver are you taking him over? And we'll start at the top, Stick. I mean, we'll start, obviously.
He's clearly better than Jameson Williams. Clearly. By far. Jameson Williams has 0 catches and 0 touchdowns in this preseason. Kennedy is blowing 100 yards the first game, 2 touchdowns this game. Get rid of Jameson Williams. Waste of a draft.
He's sneaky.
Can you imagine somebody tuning in right now and just catching all
what
that?
What the hell is
context?
this guy talking about?
Sarcasm, people. It's sarcasm.
And I think if you start with Jameson, listen, you're taking Jameson. That's not even a question. Amon-Ra, you're taking Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
You get to Josh Reynolds. You're taking, G.J. Chark or Tom Kennedy.
Chark.
We'll get to Quintez Cephas.
Cephas is where the Mendoza line is where you can start having the debate.
And we're at 5 now.
But I'm still going with Cephas because when he had real live NFL action last year,
making plays.
Dude performed.
Making plays.
Okay, so now you're 5 deep, right?
Yeah.
So where the hell is this guy going to fit in?
That's a question. Is it special teams? Like what?
I don't see him making tackles on special teams.
No.
Punt returner, maybe?
But then you have Khalil Pimpleton, who I think would be better. Who knows, again, Khalif Raymond, another guy who's going to be used in special teams. So that's the question
Where do you put him?
That's the question I have to the people. And Speakeasy said in the chat, shout out to Easy, said Trinity Benson is done. And NFL draft junkie, Benson, Pimpleton could go. Listen, I can see that. If you want to take Tom Kennedy over those guys, now the Lions at this point, you'd have to keep about 6 or 7 receivers. And so that's the question I'll ask. And I'll go to you, Spence. I know Tom Kennedy, 2 touchdowns, 5 catches, 24 yards. What do you make of Tom? Like, what do you make of him?
It's I don't know. It's tough to make something of him. I feel like you got to keep him on the roster. Like, you have to put him in there as a guy. He's the gadget play guy. We saw him throw a touchdown last year to Khalif Raymond. We know he can do stuff like that. So it's not a bad guy to have on your roster, but it's tough when you look at how stacked the wide receiver room is. But if Jameson Williams on the PUP list, so he's going to miss the first 4 weeks of the season at least. So that fills up a spot right there. You could put Tom Kennedy in. If Quintez Cephas gets injured again, which he probably will, because that's all he does is get injured. That opens a spot for Tom Kennedy. So he's a guy you got to keep on the roster. You have to keep moving him around in different pieces, but you got to keep him attached to this team at some point.
And before I go to Sam, I just want to say this too. I think there's a spot for Tom Kennedy in the NFL. I think he deserves to play snaps. Like, if you dropped him on the Packers right now,
you give him to Tom Brady. He's made a living out of making little white receivers good.
Yeah, that's right.
That's just what you do. And Scotty may not make the team this year down in Tampa Bay, so there you go. Slide right in, and you're the new Wes Welker. You're the new Julian Edelman. Tom Brady. He goes with Tom Brady. Then Tom Brady needs a little white guy. We got one.
Yeah, if he doesn't make the roster, if he does get cut, he's going to be on New England or Tampa Bay 100%.
100%.
Imagine him, and that's why I mentioned, I know you don't want him in the NFC North, but imagine him on the Packers. Like, the lack of receivers they have. Tom Kennedy, he'd be much appreciated. But Sam, I'm going to go to you. Watching Tom Kennedy, what do you make of the guy?
Don't bust your wad.
Uh-oh.
I cannot wait until he gets that knock on his door that says, "Bring me your playbook." He is not going to be on this team. He is going to be on a practice squad, or he's going to be cut. There are 6 wide receivers on this roster that are better than Tom Kennedy, and we mentioned all of them off the top of your head.
The legend killer.
It's unbelievable how much love he's getting. And you know what I loved even more in yesterday's game or Saturday's game? that less than 5 yards per catch, that just got me so aroused. Come on, Tom Kennedy is a bum. He is never going to be on this roster. He would not make the Packers. The only team he would possibly make is the Bears. I cannot wait till he gets cut so we can get this nonsense out of here. Screw Tom Kennedy. He's a bum. He's not an NFL wide receiver. He's just not. Like I said, 6 wide receivers on this roster you can think of off the top of your head that are better than Tom Kennedy. I'd probably take Trinity Benson and Pimpleton over him, to be honest. It's get out. Tom Kennedy, stay out.
Damn, Sam woke
Tell
up.
us how you really think, Sam.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sam woke up and chose violence this morning.
Every day. When you put on a flannel like that, you have one option. Either chainsaw massacre or just massacre people here on the air. I'm glad he chooses the latter.
And it's not just legend killers, man. He's going out for Tom Kennedy as well. He said, give me your playbook. Like they're going.
We're getting to that time in Hard Knocks, though, where we're going to start seeing the playbook come out, and when do they start making first cuts?
They got to cut 5 guys by the end of the week.
By the end of the week,
yeah.
So next week then on Hard Knocks is when we'll start seeing the cuts.
Early cut predictions. Like, who do you got? I feel like
Jared
they were.
Davis.
Jared Davis is making the squad, man. I don't know why you guys keep doing this. Even Devin Gardner said at pregame that Jared Davis was going to make the squad.
Yeah.
And that's
Over
the
there
thing.
rolling your eyes.
Don't bring that
Put
up.
yourself on camera if you're going to roll your eyes.
Hold him accountable.
Devin Gardner.
What does he know? Only a great quarterback at the University of Michigan. But
why is Sam so mean?
Sam was coming for throats. All right, he came. He came after Tom Kennedy. He came after Ben Wallace. No one survives around Sam Flannel. But I do want to ask the question kind of early. I mean, because listen, we talk about Tom Kennedy. We talked about David Blau. We kind of talked about it last week and how you're almost setting up David Blau to be cut because of the story. Do you think they'll dive into a little Tom Kennedy at all? Just to give him something.
You have to at this point,
he's playing
right?
well.
He's doing what you have to do to get on camera, and every day on the Bottom Line, or every Wednesday on the Bottom Line, they bring on one of the producers from HBO's Hard Knocks and NFL Films, and we were able to ask him, did you pick the Blau storyline after he fumbled or before? They had it kind of played out before because they wanted to follow the world-class athlete of his wife, and that's kind of an interesting dynamic that they've never been able to tell. So that's why they picked Blau, and then it just so happens, dude fumbles the snap or fumbles the ball in the first preseason game, so it doesn't really have the beautiful ending they were hoping for. What's up, Spence?
I just gotta say, Lions fans are so delusional and ridiculous. They're saying this is the worst take Sam's ever had, that the 7th receiver on the team is not going to make the team. When he said D-Mac didn't deserve the cups and Ben Wallace is a Hall of Famer, but this is his worst take. Come on, Lions fans.
The D-Mac conversation, Sam had some solid-ass points. I mean, he had the balls to say it, which I didn't think anybody should say. But the Ben Wallace thing, I thought he was way out of bounds. But yeah, I mean,
this is like a lukewarm take.
But what you see, you don't see them coming back with any facts of why he was wrong and why Tom Kennedy is better than any of those 7. They're just calling you wrong. So if they want to call Sam out in the chat, bring some heat in the chat and we'll address it, right,
And
Sam?
if you wonder why I am the way I am, it's because I'm responding to all of the crowning of Tom Kennedy. I have to give it some balance. That's the thing. It would not be a shock. Newsflash, it would not be a shock if Tom Kennedy didn't make this team.
Facts.
It would not be some sort of oh my God, how'd you not be? It's because the wide receiver depth of the Lions they're 6 deep. They're 6 deep with people that I think are clearly superior to Tom Kennedy.
And Cobezilla says, and listen, I love you, man, but I just disagree with this. The only thing Sam came with that take was clicks. Such a horrible take. Yeah.
Yeah, because Tom Kennedy is clickbait.
Yeah.
When we throw up Tom Kennedy stuff, everybody is searching Tom Kennedy around the NFL. That is clickbait material.
Yeah, that's listen, guys, I get it if you disagree with Sam, but one thing I'll never say, especially in this business, I'm never going to say, hate you for your take. It's your opinion. And as long as you bring the facts, which Sam Flannel always does. This man never misses his facts.
Yes.
So they should call him Sam Facts
miss.
Flannel. That's what you should be calling him because he's dropping facts. Whether you like it or not, he has a point.
But Tom Kennedy is good, right?
I like Tom Kennedy.
He's a great preseason wide receiver.
Right.
That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of us aren't the guy, and that's okay as long as he's willing to accept that he'll never be the guy here. Because everybody, you're watching him against 4th-string defenders. You're not seeing him up against the number 1 DBs. You're not seeing him up against the number 1 nickel coverage. You're seeing him up against guys that are the Tom Kennedys of the other team.
Right.
They may not make the squad.
And that's all you're saying.
You gotta wait out how you're judging this guy.
And if anything, it's a compliment to the Lions, like for how much talent they have, depth in that wide receiver room. Like you talked about it, Sam, and I'll give you a chance to defend it because someone said in the chat too, Sam, rank the wide receivers for the Lions. Then listen, it doesn't even matter. Like the fact that you can go 6 deep, like you said, Sam. That's the biggest point.
It's obvious the wide receiver rankings.
Right.
It's J-Mo, Chark, Amon-Ra, Josh Reynolds, Cephas, if he's healthy, Khalif Raymond, and then Tom Kennedy or Trinity Benson. Like, 7 or 8? Is it crazy that the 7th or 8th receiver might not make the team?
Clickbait.
Yes, Sam. Yeah, Sam. Clickbait.
I mean, I'd be willing to maybe entertain that Tom Kennedy is better than Trinity Benson, but like, is that really saying anything?
Yeah.
Trinity Benson has been a complete bust for the Lions. He's done absolutely nothing, and Tom Kennedy, like I said, it's the crowning. I'm even gonna give my guy Roman Bruno, one of our guys in the back, a stray. That dumbass tweet. I know it was kind of tongue in cheek about he's the 2022 Cooper Kupp. That is just insane. That is beyond lunacy, because what people don't remember is Cooper Kupp was a damn good wide receiver even before last year. He just broke out because he had Matthew Stafford as his quarterback, and he just got all kinds of targets. But he was a good wide receiver before. All Tom Kennedy did last year was have, 7 catches on this wide receiver room? Come on, Roman. Do better, Roman.
Is our offense this good to where our debates are backup quarterback and 7th wide receiver? Are we experiencing this right now as Lions fans, that our offense is so damn good, we're getting in the argument over who the 6th best, 7th best wide receiver and 3rd or 2nd best quarterback? I love this. We can't have this conversation on the defensive side of the ball, can we? No. We're not even worried about backups on the defense. We're worried about starters on the defensive side of the ball. But our offense better kill it this year because of the conversations we're having. We're not having, who's our number 1? We know that. Who's our top quarterback? We know that. Who's going to be our lead running back? We know that. Who's starting on the offensive line? We know that. Who's our number 1 tight end? We know that. So that's why we're having these Tom Kennedy conversations, because we can move on past the starters. This is awesome.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you said earlier, the scheme. I mean, these guys are playing good football, and that's what you can take away from it. A lot of depth for the Lions on offense. But before we get to our next segment, which we are going to be diving into one of the heavyweights, their favorite guys, Malcolm Rodriguez. But before we do that, I got to tell you about our friends from SMA, because the sports marketing agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the F Word, helps spread awareness of fentanyl and other addictions. Go to thesportsma.com if you are struggling or know someone who is.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Detroit's downtown summer playground is back. Open all summer long, the Monroe Street Midway. Enjoy roller skating, free Wi-Fi, food trucks, art installations, and so much more. Don't forget to take advantage of the basketball court, putt-putt, and, of course, family programming all summer long. All art installations are done by Detroit artists, and it's a fun, safe event from people 1 to 100. Go to deckedoutdetroit.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Spencer for the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. You know, you've heard of it. It's the home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. Multiple different ways you can play. They've got $12 open unlimited play. We can stay there open until close. Have a good time. They also have private lane reservation, $120, 10 to 12 people. You get your own lane, and you can bring in any type of food you want. If you get thirsty, they have a $2 mystery beer vending machine. You pop in $2. Pops you out a good beer, no hassle, no fuss needed. If you know what you want or you want to make a decision, they have multiple fully loaded bars for you to choose from. So come on down to Hamtramck, check them out in person, or visit them online at foalingwarehouse.com. Again, that is foalingwarehouse.com.
Welcome back. Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Stick Day, Sam Flannel, and Spencer Rackster. But we do want to continue the conversation because, listen, we're talking about the Lions. Lions got to win this weekend in the preseason. And listen, you don't take too much from it. It's preseason. These things, sometimes they don't translate. Look back at the Lions when they went 0-16. But I do want to stick on the conversation of a part of the defense that we can see as a weakness, and that's the linebacker core. Malcolm Rodriguez continuing to be impressive in the preseason on Hard Knocks. If you've watched it, you know the hype around Rodrigo.
Yes.
And I do want to start with Spence because this is the heavyweights. I mean, you guys were early on Malcolm Rodriguez. What are some things that you... Oh, God. Here comes a poll in the chat by Spencer. Who is the better wide receiver, Tom Kennedy or Jerry Rice?
Clearly Tom Kennedy.
Yeah, obviously.
Jerry
Tom
Rice
Kennedy.
never put up those numbers in preseason.
Oh, my goodness, man. I love it. I love conversations around here. But Spencer... You got to see some Malcolm Rodriguez, man. And I feel like when you're watching the Lions, especially this preseason, he is by the football.
Yeah. He's always there. And that was one of the things that stood out when we watched his tape is the dude attacks the football. He flies around the field. He's got the sideline to sideline speed, which I think is what the Lions have been looking for from a linebacker for a while, which is why they got a guy like Jalen Reeves may have been what they hoped they would have got out of Jared Davis in his first stint here. Obviously that changed when they drafted, Jelani Tavai. They're trying to make him a thumper. But this guy, Malcolm, has the speed to go sideline to sideline. When we interviewed him, he said, my speed is what's going to stand out. That's one of my best abilities. And when he gets to the football, he doesn't miss tackles. Like, the guy is a two-time all-state, state champion wrestler. If he gets his hands on you, you're going down. You're going down. You're going in the dirt. So I'm really happy for the guy getting his shine. I think he will be starting week 1. I honestly do, because it's partially because the linebacking core is so inept. But it's also because he's doing all the right things. He's making all the right plays. He's there. And this sort of defense, we also talked to him about that. This Aaron Glenn defense resembles a lot of what they did at Oklahoma State, where he was so successful, where he was Big 12 all first team defense. So I expect him to go out there and make plays. Obviously, he's still a rookie, so you got to temper your expectations a little bit. But I think he will be starting week 1, and I think he's going to be a difference maker on the defense.
And I think the biggest thing to take away from this stick is, regardless, Malcolm Rodriguez, we like what we see, but we can talk about where you got him, and that's the 6th round. And I think this always goes back to Brad Holmes. Everything always, most of these conversations always go back to Brad Holmes, because to find a guy like Malcolm Rodriguez, and Spencer hit on it all, to have a guy you can go sideline to sideline, and you're only paying him what? What's
$100,000 signing bonus. He's probably making $75,000.
Not even $1 million.
Yeah,
he's making $600,000.
$750, something like that.
And he has a chance to start this year, Stick. What are some things you've seen out of him, especially throughout this preseason, that you like?
I mean, I got a lot of thoughts on this. One of them is, what would we be talking about the linebacker core if it wasn't for Malcolm Rodriguez?
That's a great point.
Who would be the headliner, right? What would we be talking about out of this linebacker room if we didn't have Malcolm Rodriguez? So thank goodness Brad Holmes had the foresight to draft that man in the 6th round, because at least gives us something to go off of, right? And it's sad that your rookie is outworking everybody. Is that Madeline Miller? Madeline Miller, hold on. Before you leave, you're going to Lions camp right now, right? So we got to ask Maddie before she goes to keep an eye on our boy Malcolm Rodriguez today, because one of the...
you bet your bottom dollar I'll keep my
eye on his playing
Malcolm
ability
Rodriguez.
too. But that's one of the things we were just talking about, is if you take Malcolm Rodriguez out of this linebacker core, who the hell else is there? And that's something today at practice. Can you watch to see who else besides Rodriguez that they're really trying to help out?
Yeah, that's something that we all have to keep our eye out on, because it's not looking so hot. So trying to figure out who that person's going to be, what that's going to look like, because Malcolm Rodriguez is the only person that we've been looking at. So
That's so bad.
It's so bad.
Not that Malcolm Rodriguez is bad. Just that a rookie 6th round pick is the only guy that we're talking about in that linebacker room.
Well, and they said it in Hard Knocks last week, right? He's like, I don't want to start a rookie. He's a 6th round pick. He's not the person I should be starting. No offense to your game whatsoever, but where are we?
Right. Yeah. So Maddie is going down to practice today. It's her first real official day as the Lions beat reporter right here at Woodward Sports. So she's going to be putting up videos. She's going to be putting up articles. She's going to be hanging out with the team. And we're all excited for you, Maddie. And I know you're geeked. Yeah. What are you looking forward to your first day down there? Because I know you did some shadowing last week, but you had that Monday, then they went on the road. Yeah. What are you looking forward to?
Honestly, just getting to be able to ask Dan Campbell questions and being in that media room.
How can you not?
Yeah, exactly. Like that guy's electric. So to talk to him and to build a relationship with all the players is going to be awesome.
Can you let Dan Campbell know I love him?
I will, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Stick from Woodward Sports loves you.
It's Man Crush Monday. Me and Dan Campbell. Let's go,
dude. It's impossible not to. The guy is.
How can you not?
The guy's a unit. Number one.
Well, have a great time down in Allen Park, Maddie.
I'll report back.
Maddie Miller, our beat reporter for the Lions right here. Can't wait to see all the content she's going to be pumping out. Yeah. But yeah, Malcolm Rodriguez, man, it's nice that he's a part of the team. Outside of him, though, we know he's probably going to be our number one starter, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, everything is leading towards that, unless it's Alex Anzalone. That's the only other guy that they've been talking about that can take that leap. But the guy that me and Spence keep going back and forth with, and actually me and pretty much everybody here at Woodward Sports, I think Jared Davis is going to make this team as a linebacker.
I agree.
You do too?
I agree with you. And listen, you could say what you want about Jared Davis. Like, I'm not sitting here saying he's the end-all, be-all, but I think he's good enough to make the roster, considering how bad this linebacker core is. And I think one thing positive I could take away from Malcolm Rodriguez, Maddie kind of mentioning it during Hard Knocks, how they're like, listen, or Calvin Shepard was like, listen, I don't want to start a rookie, but y'all got to make me start a rookie. I think that's better for everybody else, because now you have a 6th-round pick right on your ass, and it's going to help these guys get even more... Pause on that. But realistically, he is. He's a threat for all these guys. So I agree with you. I think Jared Davis has a spot on this team. But Sam Flannel, watching Malcolm Rodriguez, what are some things you like about him? Maybe some things you don't like about him. Because you are the legend killer, so we never know what to expect.
He is a legend already, for sure.
He is.
He is, for sure.
It's a cult classic here already.
Yeah.
I mean, the easy thing to say is that this linebacking core is so bad. That's the only reason that a guy like Malcolm Rodriguez would be able to start, and I think to some extent that's true. But if you're Malcolm Rodriguez, you still have to do it. You still have to put in the work. You have to come in as a 6th-round pick when the coaches are going to do everything in their power not to start you. I know they're going to try to get the best out of him, but 6th-round picks should not be starting. And the fact that Malcolm Rodriguez has stepped up and proven his worth, I think he's going to start, just like Spencer said. That's an incredible accomplishment. I mean, like Spencer said, he just has a nose for the football. He's undersized. That's the only reason that he fell to the 6th round, is because he's undersized. That's it. Because you look at him back at Oklahoma State, he was a tackling machine. He was also very versatile. And you haven't seen a ton out of him in preseason, but you do see that he just seems to find the football. And in practice, you hear nothing but good things. And the fact that he's going to start, that is incredible. It is an indictment on the rest of the linebacking core, but for the purpose of this, I choose to give more praise to Malcolm Rodriguez than to denigrate the linebacking core.
And listen, to give credit to the great Neil Rule, 2 things can be true.
Yeah.
The linebacker core can be bad, but Malcolm Rodriguez is a good player. So, like, you take it and whatever you want to run with it.
Well, it could be like a good Brad Holmes diamond in the rough pick, too. Wouldn't that be incredible if Malcolm Rodriguez actually is something? He would have gotten 6th-round Malcolm Rodriguez in 2022 and Amon-Ra St. Brown 4th round in 2021. But Malcolm Rodriguez isn't proven yet, but the fact that he's already starting, that does say a lot for a 6th-round pick.
And I saw Wyatt in the chat says, remember Tavai? Like, remember where we were not too long ago with who we were taking in the 2nd round, and now you get...
Remember when ESPN didn't have any highlights of this guy? They didn't even have, like, Mel Kiper's like, who?
Yeah.
Tavai? Like, the 2nd round? What is going on? That's when we used to be smarter than the room. Remember when we used to be smart? Oh, hey, we're going to pull a guy. Now... we are smarter than the room without saying it, right? Now we're pulling Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now we're pulling our boy Malcolm Rodrigo. And it's nice to have that silent confidence, right? We're making the right moves. But yeah, when we used to try to outsmart everybody, all we did was look like damn fools. And I'm glad the Lions are past that culture.
No, yeah, me too. And I think right now with Brad Holmes, I think that's what separates Bob Quinn and Brad Holmes is absolutely, and late round scouting as well.
Yep.
Like once you get past because you can find. I mean, listen, Bob Quinn, they still messed up the second round pick, but it's harder to hit on guys starters. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round, and now Brad Holmes has 2 guys that are going to be contributors, and Malcolm and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that's what you could take away from it. And another thing before we go to break, because we are going to be getting into more Detroit Lions talk about the defensive line, but before we do, I do want to just go to the chat a little bit and see what the people are saying. And R.J. Graham says, maybe Rodrigo's talent fell, just like Amon-Ra. And listen, I think, was it Neil? Correct me if I'm wrong, that said he thinks Malcolm could be the Amon-Ra of this year.
I said that.
You said that. Okay, that's why I wanted the clarification. So Spencer said that. And I think that's a great point because, listen, and they're different positions, so define breakout for a guy like Malcolm. I mean, he just goes out and is a starter and is solid every game.
Well, that's another thing with scouting. You're not just scouting who they were.
Right.
You're scouting who they can be. And that's the vision that Brad Holmes has that not a lot of GMs have because he spent so much time in the Rams system doing it. I mean, they took Cooper Kupp in the 3rd round.
Right.
You imagine if we got a Cooper Kupp in the 3rd round here in Detroit? We'd build a statue to Brad Holmes. Be like, look at this guy pulled out a Super Bowl MVP from the 3rd round, and he literally did. So, I love that they can scout the guys in the moment, but I love that they're even better at projecting where they're going to be.
And Brandon Katz, listen, the world-renowned Brandon Katz says, undersized linebackers usually have trouble staying healthy. That's why Dean dropped in the draft. Rodriguez has to prove he can stay healthy. Listen, you got some points to that.
He built for it.
But he built for it. I think physically, Malcolm is just in
Dude's a muscle hamster, man. He's yoked.
Much better shape.
He is wide.
He's thick.
I'm 6'4", about 200 pounds. Spence, how big are you?
I'm 6'1", about 250, 260.
And dude is he's almost 1.5 of me wide, and he's bigger than Spence wide too. And dude's just jacked. So I don't think he's going to have a problem taking on the physicality of the NFL.
No, and listen, talk about physicality. I think he'll be just fine. He will. And listen, you guys can be just fine if you get over here to Lady Jane's, by the way, because someone please tell me about our friends at Lady Jane's.
Well, it's wicked awesome. I mean, as you saw when Matty Miller was sitting over there in the big chair, there was a guy in the background getting a massage, getting his scalp rubbed, and that's why you come to Lady Jane's, so you can get treated like a king. Listen, sometimes the rest of your day sucks. You come here, you get put on that pedestal like you deserve, king, and you do it at Lady Jane's. They have them all over Metro Detroit and all over the country, so even if you're traveling, make sure you look for them. Precision haircuts, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Jeff Iafrate here, and I'm going to tell you about oddstrader.com because it's the #1 site for all your game day bets. Listen, I'm a simple man, and I go to OddsTrader, and I use OddsTrader because everything is right in front of me. I don't have to go from app to app. Everything's very simple. They have play-by-play updates, live scores, and the best price on every game, like I said, for multiple sports books. Please go to theoddstrader.com right now for your best bet. Welcome back. Big D Energy here on a Monday. Sam Stick Day. Jeff Iafrate filling in for the usual guys of Big D Energy. That is Neil Rule and Darren McCarty.
And that pickle pizza
and
in the background.
Listen, me and Neil tried that pickle pizza. Now we got the people moving because I see on Twitter everyone's buying some of this pickle pizza. It's delicious.
Yeah, Rake brought in some pizza and wings from Chubby Charlie's on Friday.
I ran into him at the DCFC game on Saturday too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Rake's the man.
Rake is the man.
It's always awesome running into viewers, man. I did that before, and you guys are always the best. And we appreciate you, all 430 of you, for tuning into YouTube, listening on the radio, and showing constant support. Drop a like if you haven't already, by the way.
And a subscribe.
And a subscribe if you haven't already. So
do it.
I do want to talk about this defensive line because, guys, if you look at the injuries right now for the Detroit Lions, we already know Romeo Okwara coming off an Achilles injury. He's hurt. He'll be back. You also have Josh Pascal, had that sports hernia. Probably will be back to start of the regular season, if not a couple games later. You have Levi Ozarike, who's also dealing with some. It's a back and hip injury, and that's what Spencer. He posed the question here, and I'm going to go around the room. I'll go to the people as well. Are you worried about the lack of depth with this, or I shouldn't say lack of depth, but the starters being injured? Because we know there's depth, but you're really just looking at Aiden Hutchinson now and Aleem McNeil going into the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, lack of depth, I think, is the proper way to put it, because our defense is so, I'll just say, not talented that we can't afford to lose the starters. Yeah, if that's a hot take to you, you don't pay attention to football. I just got to be honest with you. But I think it's one of those things where our defense is already struggling, and depth is an issue, but even our starters' depth is an issue. So any type of negative impact on the defense at any point in time is really going to wear on this team because they're already fighting an uphill battle with these guys, right? So, yeah, outside, we need Paschal to come back. I really think if we have him and Hutchinson bookending this defense, that will alleviate a lot of the pressure of the linebackers, right? You get pressure on the quarterback, you're better at controlling the line of scrimmage, your linebackers will be better. Same thing with the defensive backs, because we need to focus on that defensive line, put pressure on the quarterback, your DBs have to cover less time, not 8 seconds, maybe 3 to 4. We got the guys that can do 3 to 4 seconds. So really, everything is on our defensive line moving forward because they need to cover up so many holes that this defense already has. And if they're not there, if Aiden Hutchinson isn't putting pressure on the quarterback, if Paschal doesn't come back and we can't get that defensive line in order, we're in for a long season on the defensive side of the ball, and I hope our offense can keep up.
And it's only going to benefit Aiden Hutchinson as well if you have, like you mentioned, Josh Pascal, Romeo Okwara, because who you double teaming? I mean, you can't if you just have Aleem McNeil and Aiden Hutchinson out there. Like again, there's going to be more situations for them to try and contain Aiden. I think Aiden's going to be just fine, but again, more starters in the game, it's going to be more beneficial. But I think also the defensive line, out of the entire defense, and you hit on it, it's not very talented as a whole, as a unit.
Yeah.
But I think the defensive line is probably out of the three, the linebackers, the secondary, probably least worry. But still, the lack of depth is a little bit worrying. But
it should be our least. We just spent the first and second round pick addressing that issue. That should be the least of your concerns because we addressed that concern. Really didn't bring anybody in on the linebacker position. Really didn't bring any cornerbacks or safeties in this season. You're hoping Okudah can be kind of a diamond in the rough and pay off for our patience with him, that he gets back healthy, and then all of a sudden, okay, we have a defensive line and we have a shutdown corner. We're starting to piece it together here a little bit. Now maybe we bring in a better linebacker, and now all of a sudden we have a star player at all three levels on defense. And we'll get there, but it's going to take time. You see how they built this offense. They established the offensive line first.
In the
then
trenches.
They went and got the toys, right? Then they went and got your Jamison Williams. And they need to do that on defense. Establish that defensive line first, because I think Dan Campbell knows where this game's won. It's won in the trenches. You saw it with Sam Darnold last year, putting the pressure on that so Chase couldn't get that wide open pass, right, to win the Super Bowl. Those are the things that you need to see out of our defensive line this year, because it makes up for so many other deficiencies.
And Dr. Dirty D says Aleem, Aiden, Harris, and Austin getting big compliments this offseason. Can't worry about injury.
I liked Austin. Austin's had a pretty nice preseason.
He has, and like Sam said earlier, 4.5 sacks last year, so he's getting better. I know another comment was brought up too about Levi Ozarike being injured for the second year in a row. And listen, guys, this is my take on it. Like, if Levi works out, that's just another player from that draft class that is a starter. Like, if he doesn't, you still have Aleem. Yeah. You still have Panay.
Derek
Amon-Ra.
Barnes is another guy you got to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, Barnes is
and I like Derek Barnes,
along,
but I'm disappointed. I really am.
I thought he was going to be a much harder hitter, just a bigger force on that team. But we'll see. We'll see. He's got a chance to make the squad still.
No, he does. He does. And Sam Flannel, you mentioned it earlier. I want to go to you. This defensive line, does it concern you with the lack of depth, just with injuries happening already?
Well, without injuries, I would argue that at least with pass rushers, there isn't a lack of depth. I would say in the interior defensive line, that's what scares me. You got Ali McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike, Michael Brockers, and Levi Onwuzurike is hurt. That's what scares me. I know that you can move Aiden Hutchinson inside, but I would rather see him do most of his work from the outside.
I agree.
But the defensive line, to me, this is the key to having a good or at least serviceable defense, if the defensive line can work out. And we've still seen, where is Josh Paschal? We haven't seen him. We don't know. He's a guy you worry about. And Romeo Okwara, obviously, he's coming off of an Achilles, and that's tough. But if we can get everybody healthy, if the Lions can get everybody healthy, I think this pass rushing group, Aiden Hutchinson, Charles Harris, Romeo Okwara, Julian Okwara, who has showed some flashes, Austin Bryant, who has showed some flashes, that's not a bad pass rushing crew at all. And I think that if everybody gets healthy, this could be the number one strength of that defense.
I 100% agree with Sam. I think the depth is there once these guys get back from injury. The injuries that concern me are really, obviously, Levi. It's a back injury. It's a nagging injury with a guy of that size and what he does. That's something that he needs to get right if he wants to, continue playing or to play at all in the NFL. So, but like Sam said, we got Charles Harris, we got Hutch. Once Romeo gets healthy from that Achilles, once Julian gets back, once Pascal gets back, you can move Pascal inside. He'd be more of a better on the inside kind of guy. And you bring back, Romeo Okwara to sub out for Charles Harris. You bring in Julian Okwara to sub out for Aiden Hutchinson. That's a pretty deep pass rushing four. And then you have other guys you can throw in there. So I like it. I think once they get everybody healthy, that will be a strength of that defense for sure, especially with Aleem. And if Levi can get back, those two up front will be dangerous. But we need health is the main thing. We need to get these guys back for real.
Well, and I like our coaching, though. Like, Aaron Glenn, I think, is going to coach these guys up. He may not have all the tools in the shed to be able to build us the beautiful mansion and the house that we want. But we saw last year, even with a spotty defensive squad, the effort that those guys give in, because defense is a lot based on effort. Skill can take you a long way, but if you don't have that dog in you, or Joik said, you don't have that gorilla in you.
Mike Rodrigo.
Yeah, effort, and you're seeing it exactly. He is a prime example of, he may not have the supreme athleticism, right? And he didn't show out with his 40 time and all of that stuff, but he's showing that maximum effort, getting your assignments, understanding angles, understanding positioning, and trusting your teammates to know that, hey, my defensive end is going to make sure there's contain happening. I got to stay inside because he's going to turn the run back into me so I can take this angle. And hopefully we may not be the most athletic defense, but we can be the most cerebral defense. And that's where we can make up for some of the things that we are lacking.
And that's the benefit of having a guy like Aaron Glenn, who's in control of this unit. And I think in terms of depth for the defensive line, I'm not as concerned because you kind of saw it yesterday. Like we talked about earlier in the show, Kaminsky, you brought up also Austin Bryant, two guys that played well, Eric Banks. Like, they got guys. The thing I'm concerned about is probably on the interior, like besides Aleem McNeil, to really be able to stop the run. Aiden Hutchinson also is very good, but like you said, Sam Flannel, you want him on the outside. You want him getting after the quarterback. That's the number one thing for Aiden. As good as he might be at stopping the run, Joey said in the chat, I agree, and he bringing the stats out, had a 90.8 run grade at Michigan. So listen, the guy can stop the run as well, but that's really my concern with this defensive line. Not too much everybody else. And Dr. Dirty D says Aleem McNeil isn't trash. Has an album that isn't complete trash. You guys, Aleem McNeil's rapping now. It was actually pretty good, by the way. I checked it out. Listen,
concentrate on football. You can rap after football. Concentrate on football. I don't need Andre Drummond running around wanting to DJ in all the clubs. No, I get you're supposed to have depth. That's awesome, but concentrate on football. Your career's only going to be 5 to 10 years maybe, right, at most. Take that time. Put everything you got into being a better football player. Leave the rap until after. I'm promising you it'll work out better for you. Nobody needs to be. And even like Cade Cunningham, I saw his rapping, and I'm like, Cade, you are supremely talented. You are the face of this team. I get it's part of the culture. I understand it all, man. But put every ounce of energy you have into basketball. Be Michael Jordan. Jordan wasn't out there putting out rap albums. You know what he was doing? He was in the gym. I was watching a video.
And he was gambling and golfing all the time. Yeah. Like you can be good at basketball.
He was doing competitive things, though.
That's completely different.
But I was watching Kobe Bryant this morning.
Playing cards and golfing, is that different from rapping?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's
he's not sitting there coming up with bars. He's like, come on,
that
man.
Is nothing.
What are you talking
you can
about?
sit at a table and gamble, and that is the same as playing basketball.
I need competitors.
They are competitors. They do compete. They can go put some bars out. That's fine.
That does me real good.
They literally do their whole lives preparing for this
At
sport.
least when Jordan's golfing, he can operate and practice doing things under pressure.
Oh,
when you're battle rapping, what is it? Oh, okay. Papa Doc's gonna come out and send your ass across 8 Mile.
Oh, stop
I don't need rappers. I need ball players.
They are ball players. This is what they do in their spare time. They're dedicating their lives to this. It's not
you
like
know what Kobe did in his spare time?
This a back
you know what
seat.
Kobe did in his spare time?
What?
He practiced.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like this morning I was watching a thing on TikTok that Kobe was talking about. He's like, yeah, most guys, they'll get up at 9, go to the gym, 9 to noon, eat lunch, recover, go back to the gym. He's like, I'm in the gym from 4 to 6. Then I eat breakfast. Then I go back. Like, he gets in 4 workouts in a day while these other dudes are slacking, only doing 2, writing effing lyrics down.
Yeah, and that overworks your body.
I want dogs. I want people who love the game.
We have dogs. Don't question these guys because they're putting out rap songs.
I am.
That's boomerish.
And it's not rap. It could be if this guy was singing country music. I'd be like, quit writing country lyrics and get out there and tackles. It has nothing to do with the genre of music. It's that I want my players to be focused on playing the sport I am paying them to play. Andre Drummond was in more clubs in this city, and he had every ounce of talent to be an elite player in the NBA, but he didn't want it.
Don't compare Andre Drummond to Cade Cunningham. Andre Drummond is
too much on other things.
But I'm giving you an example of a guy with talent that wanted to be a bar star, and it doesn't help you in your NBA game.
What about Damian Lillard? Damian Lillard does the same thing and puts out multiple rap albums, and he's been an all-star the past, 8 years.
All-star, great. Do they get out of the fucking first round of the playoffs? Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, they made the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago.
Once.
By himself. In the NBA, you can't do that by yourself.
I'm telling you this. He's not putting out that album. They go to the championship.
Stop it. Dude.
I just gotta say.
Come on, Stick.
Papa Doc walking across. You bring that up. You bringing some references in here.
Oh,
Papa
man.
Doc
Everybody from the
313. I love it, man. I love it. You see Stick getting all fired up. It's probably because he's drinking that Cintron. He's energized. And listen, I'm gonna tell you about Cintron because the summer of Cintron is here. And now the Cintron is available at Kroger right now. You make sure you pick up some while you're shopping. You get 2 Cintrons for only $4. That's right, $4. Cintron is the new energy drink for the active lifestyle. Drink it, live it with Cintron.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer at Academy Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Holton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
Grab your favorite jersey and join us down at the Monroe Street Midway on August 25th for a Jersey Thursday roller skating party. Our very own Woodward Heavyweights will be broadcasting live from the Roll Out Detroit roller rink with a jersey theme party starting immediately after with a DJ and a jersey giveaway. So mark your calendars and join the Woodward crew for a Jersey Thursday, August 25th at Monroe Street Midway. Again, that is Thursday, August 25th at Monroe Street Midway.
Big D Energy here back on the Woodward Sports Network, and Jeff Iafrate, Sam Stick Day. Sam Flannel and Spencer Raxter. And we just kind of got over that little conversation we had between Spence and Stick. And I got to love it, man. The people love it. AC says, Stick needs education. Go to the Academy of Warren, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I doing a Sean Wright rap lyrics over here? It's going to be hot fire. It's not going to affect my job or anything, but I'm just going to use this time to come up with some rap lyrics against Spencer. Spencer, F you,
no, if you're
tell
doing
me how my... Okay.
Shout out to Shaq, by the way. Dissing Kobe. But I do want to change the conversation. Let's talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown, because Amon-Ra, second highest graded rookie wide receiver in the NFL last year. And we had you on the Jeff and Jeffrey show last week, and we talked about Amon-Ra. Mm-hmm. And last year, he played well. You see it right there in the graphic. Jamar Chase, the highest rated. Amon-Ra second, and slightly below him is Jalen Waddle. Devontae Smith behind Jalen Waddle. And it's crazy that 3 of the 4 guys that were taken in the top 10.
That's
3 of them
stealing.
One of these things are not like the other. And
yeah.
It's Amon-Ra being taken in the 4th round. But I do want to pose the question, guys, because we talked about this, and my biggest thing was last year, yes, Amon-Ra had more opportunities. There wasn't many other weapons for Jared to throw to, so of course Amon-Ra stood out. But he got better, and you saw it. If you take his first half of the season and the lack of production, and then you take the second half and him totaling almost 1,000 yards, if you're telling me we got that second half of Amon-Ra in the first half, there's no question that he would be over a 1,000-yard receiver. For me, I think this year, more talent is only going to help him out. TJ Hockenson back healthy. Yeah, Ben Johnson now is the official full-time OC, someone who really likes Amon-Ra. And when he was, the pass game coordinator, you saw Amon-Ra get involved more and more. But Stick, what are your expectations for Amon-Ra this year, and how much can he improve?
I have a really hard problem answering this question because my brain goes 2 ways on it, right? And you kind of brought it up. Last year, he was kind of the sole option. So he got the volume. And that's where he got all the reps, all the love, and all the yards, all the receptions. He didn't drop anything, which that we can focus on that all day long. That's amazing. But this year, there's more weapons, right? So the ball's going to be passed around a little more. You're going to have J-Mo on the outside. You're going to have Hockenson on the inside. Swift is planning on catching 1,000 yards worth of receiving. But then you also, logic will tell you, we have more weapons, so those guys are going to be covered more, and they're going to be more worried about a Jameson. They're going to be more worried about a Hockenson, and that could open up an Amon-Ra St. Brown. I honestly don't know. And usually I have like a definitive thought process behind something, but logically it works out both ways in my head. Can he be what he was last year? Can he take a step forward? Of course he can, because the defense is going to cover the outside and cover Hockenson a little more, cover the backfield a little more, which should open him up. But is he going to get that volume? Probably not, because of all the weapons that we now added to that side of the ball. I don't need to see leaps and bounds progression. What I need to see is consistency like he was. Being our go-to guy on 3rd down. Making sure he's still not dropping passes. And you saw it in the first preseason game. He ran a nice crossing pattern across the entire field. Got behind the linebacker, or behind the cornerback, and in front of the safety. Fell right in that slot. Was able to catch the ball. I just know he's reliable, and I can just set it and forget it with him. I'm not really looking for him to project higher, project lower. I'm just looking for him to be that reliable source that we can go to whenever we need to.
And that's a great point. I think what you just said, too. Like, you can see him taking a step forward, but it doesn't always have to depend on production.
Correct.
He could still be a better player. Even if he has the same numbers, he could still be a better player. And it's crazy to say that because the guy didn't drop a football last year. But I want to go...
Yeah, it's tough to get better than that, right?
Yeah,
like, as far as reliability, it's tough to get better than perfection. So we may see a drop out of him. That doesn't mean he regressed. That means he may drop a football. It happens in the NFL. But yeah, I don't think he's going to regress by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't know if we can judge him by yards and receptions.
Yeah, I think he is going to take a little bit of a step forward because we heard Jared Goff, it was last week or 2 weeks ago, say when he's looking to make a play, he's looking for Amon-Ra St. Brown. That is his guy. He has the rapport with him. Obviously, we saw what they did last year at the end of the year. They kind of, meshed and did all that together. Amon-Ra had 900-plus yards without really being involved in the offense until week 6. So having him there, he's like Jared Goff's guy because Jared Goff, as much as he has these weapons on the outside now with J-Mo when he comes back. I'm thinking around week 6, maybe after that bye week. with DJ Chark on the other side. Amon-Ra is his type of receiver, running those intermediate routes. He's going to be in the middle of the field. He's going to be getting open, and I expect him to have the most consistent targets on this team all season. Like, at the beginning of the year, DJ Chark will have more targets because J-Mo will be gone. Then when J-Mo comes back, DJ Chark will have less because J-Mo's there. But I think Amon-Ra will consistently get 8 to 12 targets every game all year, and I think he's going to be at around 1,100 yards.
And we talked
season.
about how they're going to use the play action a lot,
Yes.
right? And that goes right into Amon-Ra's game, because who's going to be the guy that's dipping behind the linebackers as they come up to play the run?
Right.
It's going to be your slot receiver just diving in there. It's either him or Hawkinson over the middle. So there's going to be those options. I don't know, and it's kind of exciting because I know it's going to be good. I just don't know how good.
Yeah, and I think one thing you can look at, and I think the advantage that Amon-Ra has from last year to this year is with the new receivers, that rapport he has with Jared Goff. Like DJ Chark, he's new. Josh Reynolds is another guy that has rapport with Jared. But listen, Amon-Ra this year, and you kind of mentioned it already, the defenses are going to have to pick one, in the middle.
Yep.
Like, you're going to have TJ, you're going to have Amon-Ra. Either one is going to be able to get out and make plays. Sam Flannel, I do want to go to you on it. Like, what are your expectations? Let's start with that. What are your expectations for Amon-Ra St. Brown this year, and how much can he improve?
My expectations are for him to lead the team in receptions and receiving yards, and mainly it's because Jamison Williams is hurt. That's one of the main reasons, and the other reason is because he's a damn good player, and how he finished last season. In the last 6 games, he was an all-pro caliber player. I think he had 51 catches for 560 yards and 5 touchdowns, and they went 3-3, the Lions did in that time period. So that just shows how valuable Amon-Ra St. Brown is. I think this year, with a more crowded wide receiver room, it's still going to be him getting the most targets because he already has that rapport with Jared Goff. When you're Jared Goff, you need to have a receiver who can run the short and intermediate routes that can be your safety blanket. Kind of like, or you can use it in a tight end or a receiver, and I think for him, that is Amon-Ra St. Brown. And the good news for him is that I don't think he has to make leaps and bounds improvements for him to still be successful. What I want to see from Amon-Ra St. Brown, if I were talking to him, I'd be like, Amon-Ra, if you want to improve, become the best route runner in the NFL. I think that is his kind of key to being not only a Pro Bowler, but a perennial All-Pro, and maybe that, I'm not even going to say it yet, just a Pro Bowler or a perennial All-Pro player is if you become the best route runner in the NFL. I think that's his path.
So what you're saying is, and I just want to confirm, he's not better than Tom Kennedy, or he is better?
Oh man, don't even. Amon-Ra St. Brown is like up here. There's like 1,000 feet of crap, and then there's Tom Kennedy. Come on.
He is. Listen, Sam's out for blood, and I do want to go to the chat because Brandon Katz said something interesting, which I kind of agree with, but I also disagree with. Brown's numbers will drop this year. Teams know about him now. Nobody game planned for him last year. Teams will game plan for him completely this year,
right.
And everyone knows who he is. Although I agree with that, you don't think teams are game planning for him late in the season, Spence?
See, I don't think you can really game plan for the slot receiver with the weapons that were added to this offense this year.
Right.
With like what Stick was saying, like having DJ Chark on the outside, Jamison Williams when he comes back, having Swift, having Hawkinson, having that great offensive line. You can't focus your game plan around the slot receiver. It's you can't do it because you'll get burnt by everybody else.
Yeah, and Dr. Dirty D makes a great point, which is something that I did touch on last week. St. Brown was working on his yards after catch this offseason. Dude will be amazing. That's the thing, too. He got 900 yards on, like, really not a lot of yards after catch. And Ben Johnson talked to him in the offseason. That was one of the things he wanted for him to work on. And he said he's been doing everything to do that. So imagine if he can get out and make plays. He might get less volume, but be more productive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's just one football, man, and that's it. Like, how many yards are we projecting Jared Goff going to throw for, right? If you say 4,000...
That's what I'd probably agree with.
We're right in that area, okay.
Yeah, 4,000.
So how are we divvying up these 4,000 yards? I just saw somebody in the chat, there'll be like 3,000 or 4,000 yard receivers on this team. Okay, well, there's 4,000 without even like getting to Swift and stuff like that.
Right.
So how are we going to divvy up these yards? Where are they going to go to? Is Hawkinson going to be a 1,000-yard receiver this year? Potentially. Swift?
No. Receiving?
Okay.
No. I think, like, Swift, I could see 500, 600, maybe 600. I could see
Swift
Hawkinson.
said his goal was 1,000. Mm-hmm. So maybe if he reaches his goal, do we expect Chark to have a decent showing?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Close to 1,000. I can see that.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, we got to figure out where these 4,000 yards are going if that's what Jared Goff is going to throw for this year. And if he goes less, it's going to be even harder for Amon-Ra St. Brown to take that step forward. So it's real interesting. But I will say this, since our defense is going to be giving up so many points this year, and we're going to be trying to play catch up the majority of the time, or even when we have the lead, we're going to know that it's not a safe lead, we're going to be chucking the ball a lot.
We will.
We have to be, even though I think we're going to be a run-first offense, which makes no sense, but it's what we have to do. We want to be a run-first offense, but I don't know if our defense is going to allow that through the entire game.
And considering what that defense has, you want to keep them off the field. You want to keep the offense on the field and hold control of the football. And I see people chiming in, and that guy 62 says, Ben Johnson, even in preseason, has shown the ability to adjust the offense on the fly for clutch yardage or to open up that bootleg. I guarantee you when Goff is hitting that play action, it's going deep. And that kind of goes back to your point, too, about DJ Chark. Like, there's going to be a lot of guys that play well. I don't know how many 1,000-yard receivers they'll have. I think, realistically, I'm saying Amon-Ra will have 1,000, so that's probably the only guy I would say breaks 1,000. Maybe other guys come close. But this is a good conversation to what you said earlier.
Well, best case scenario, this becomes like the 2004 Pistons, right? You don't have a guy that's scoring 30 points a game. You got a bunch of dudes scoring 20, and that's it. Yeah, everybody eats to that effect. We'll never have a guy have 200, 150-yard games. We'll have a bunch of guys that have 80-yard games, 75-yard games, and that's fine as long as we're picking up first downs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I know how the weakness of this team is defense. But one thing you never have to worry about is Guardian Alarm's defense. You never have to.
No, our defense is weak. Guardian Alarm, very, very strong. And they've been very strong for almost 100 years. So why don't you trust your local security experts and call 1-800-STAY-OUT right now. That number again is 1-800-STAY-OUT. You call them, mention Woodward Sports. They are going to give you a free gift to help monitor your home today. Give you that peace of mind, 24/7 surveillance, all from Guardian Alarm. Your security experts, 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Ooh, Big Frog and Novi, they've been doing it all month long, and they're doing it for you. A free t-shirt if you stop by. They're right there off Novi Road, and make sure you go see them. Or if you need t-shirts and you need them fast, make sure you go bigfrog.com/Novi. They got that 24-hour turnaround, no setup fees, no artwork fees, and no minimums. You want one t-shirt because you think it's awesome? Go to Big Frog. They'll print it out for you. Do it today, and make sure you pick up your free Woodward Sports t-shirt while you're there.
Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate filling in for Neil Rule. Sam Stick Dave filling in for the 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. They will be back tomorrow. Make sure you tune in and show those guys some support.
They're golfing right now.
They are golfing. And Neil, I did ask him to send an update. He will be doing that. Hopefully we can get some updates. You did.
Yeah.
Can we actually go to the update of Neil Rule and Darren McCarty?
What's up, guys? Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty. We are out of the office today at the Detroit City Golf Outing. We're downtown at Chandler Park having a good time, and D-Mac putting up some birdies.
Well, we got to go and play the two-man scramble. Neil and I are getting better and better as the season goes on. We do miss you guys. Got a lot of stuff to talk about, but thanks for holding it down, Stick and Jeff, and we'll talk Lions. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Actually, Antoine Opino our DCFC star, will be in studio on Wednesday. So look forward to being back in the office tomorrow, right from that studio with all of you.
Lot of college football this week. Let's go. We're about to make some more birdies. We're rolling out. We're going to win this thing.
I just hit a bomb.
Hit a bomb. We'll talk to you soon. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.
And there you have it. Updates from Neil Rule and Darren McCarty. Man, I love those guys, man. They're having a blast.
Yeah, they should be. They're out golfing every damn day, it feels like. I mean, it's fun. We get to fill in on the show, but
absolutely,
they love their golf.
And we're having a fun time. Thank you guys for tuning in, by the way, showing support to the show. Those guys will be back tomorrow to dive into a lot of different conversations. But one conversation I did want to get to, and we got to get it out of the way, got to talk about some Detroit Tigers. Erod yesterday comes back. He hasn't pitched since May 18th. He had the injury, and then after that, he just hasn't been here.
Went on vacation.
Who knows? Came in, played pretty well. I think the bullpen was probably one of the MVPs. Riley Green, another one you can mention, walked in, crushed a 450-foot bomb over Shohei Ohtani. But I do want to ask the question, and I'm going to go to the public as well on this. Can this team bounce back next season?
Oh, God. We're already there.
And, this season's wrapped
That's where we're at.
You know what's funny, too? I haven't been tuning into a lot of Tigers games. I'm always checking up with updates. But last week, I tuned in to the Guardian game where they scored 6 runs in the eighth inning? Yeah, right. 8th or 9th inning.
Yep.
And I remember sitting there watching on my TV, and I told myself, why'd you do it, Jeff? Why'd you do it?
Yeah.
You wanted to tune into a Tigers game. This is what happens. But I do want to go to you, Stick. Listen, you're a diehard Tigers fan. You're still in your softball league, big baseball guy. What do the Tigers have to do to even be considered, to be able to bounce back next season? I guess it starts with finding out who's replacing Al Avila, number one.
Well, and it's kind of scary because last offseason it was, what do the Tigers have to do? They got to spend some money. They went out and spent about $300 million, and it helped us zero this year. Absolutely zero. If anything, we regressed by spending money in the offseason. So yeah. I don't know, man. I'm at a loss for the Tigers. Our minor league system was ranked like number 3 or 4 the last couple years. We've dipped all the way down to like 26, 27, 28 now.
Jesus.
So the minor league system's depleted. The team just doesn't have the confidence. I like our manager and AJ Hinch, but is that going to be a new GM coming in wanting his guy, his way, coaching with analytics or coaching without analytics? There's just, I have no idea what to expect, and I think that's what got us all in trouble this year with the Tigers. We came into the season with expectations. We thought this was going to be a fringe playoff team. Mm-hmm. We really did. You saw what they were doing last year. The pitching came together, and this team has just never been able to click. We started off the season awful when our pitchers were doing well, and then our bats started heating up, and our pitchers started to suck. We could never really just get it all together. We have Riley Green. Outside of that, who's our next star?
Right.
Miguel Cabrera says, one day he's going to go meet with the GM. He's going to meet with his agent and decide what he's going to do for the next couple of years. The next day he says, no, I'm going to play out my contract. That's a big hill we got to climb. That's a lot of money right there. Are we going to spend more money? Is Chris Ilitch going to open up the pocketbook even more than he did last year, hoping these guys pay off? It's just, I don't know, man. You got to start from the very, very bottom again. And that's what's awful. We're 7 years into a rebuild, and we haven't even finished the foundation.
Wow. Think about that. It's their 3rd rebuild. So, and that's kind of just how it is. And another thing you got to ask yourself, and you brought up Chris Ilitch, will he spend money? Yeah. And who is he bringing in? For my belief and my desire, and I want to get your opinion on this, Sam, you have to bring somebody outside of this organization in. You need a different perspective. Don't bring up somebody who's been under Al Avila for the last 8 years.
Oh God,
that's my take on it. Sam, what is yours?
I agree with you because if you're under Al Avila, what have you seen? Incompetent GMings. And it's not my job to say who they should bring in. I'd bring in Theo Epstein, but that kind of seems like a pipe dream because
that's what I want too, Sam. Yes. But he's trying to be the next commissioner of baseball, so he's not going to come back and be a GM. It's crazy that baseball GM is a step down now for Theo Epstein.
He's already the best executive in baseball history right now at such a young age, so he doesn't need to be on the Tigers. The Tigers, the problem is they spent money, but did they really? They did, but Javier Baez I could have seen from a mile away. Javier Baez is a baseball eyesore. He is all sizzle and no steak. He's had some good years with power, but his lifetime on base percentage is .301. In case anybody doesn't know, that is god-awful. That's send you down to the minors type stuff. And another uncomfortable truth that I have to say right now, is Riley Green a star? Is he really? Because his rookie season hasn't been that good. When you really look at his stats, his on-base percentage is .296 and his OPS is under .650. That's not good. And Spencer Torkelson obviously had one of the worst rookie seasons in MLB history. He was you can't even say how awful he was. It was worse than you even think. And then guys like Casey Mize, Tommy John, Matt Manning, he's looked good lately, but he missed a lot of the season. Tarek Skubal, injured. Eduardo Rodriguez just takes like a 3-month sabbatical. And honestly, like, is it bad that I say this? When I think of Eduardo Rodriguez and it's like marital problems, is there a part of you that says, we all got problems, man? You can't just take 3 months off and like go AWOL. I didn't like that at all. So I guess I'm saying a lot of negative stuff. There needs to be in Austin Meadows.
Is that why he went? You think he went away because of some marital problems?
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what they said.
That's what they said. But that's kind of like we all got problems. And did I not?
Why can't they just settle it like Avisail Garcia and Prince Fielder?
Oh, dear Lord.
Beat each other's ass in the locker room. That's how you deal with your marital problems if your wife's smashing one of your teammates.
I mean, Miguel Cabrera had a second family and he didn't miss any games. We got to give him credit for that.
Oh my! And he's one of the best hitters of all time.
That's just the fact. And even Austin Meadows. How do we forget about Austin Meadows? This is for you, Ryan Lenz. 36 games, 0 home runs, and OPS under 700. That's what you should have asked him when you met him. Why is your OPS under 700? That's what I would have asked him if I would have met Austin Meadows. So I guess my point is, this Tigers team is just, it's beyond awful. And how can I forget about Jonathan Scope, who has the worst on-base percentage literally in MLB history at this point in the year. So I am not the bringer of sunshine. There has to be a systemic overload. It seems like the player development has been rotten to the core for many, many years. Alavila's gone, which we're all happy about. But you got to bring in someone who's better, although I think I could do a better job as a GM than Alavila. But you have to bring in someone who's actually competent. I don't know. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, but
the quick fix is spend money, right? The quick fix is go out there and buy yourself some
not
players.
On Javier Baez.
Because we're not going to be able to bring them up through the farm system.
No.
We're not going to if we want to fix this quickly, go drop $500 million. Go do it. You're going to make it back. That's what I don't understand. Like, when the Tigers were really good, they were in top 5 payroll in the league, right? They were over $100 million easily every single season. But you saw the stands packed, 40,000 people every single night. You're making that investment back. I just don't know. If I was a owner in Major League Baseball and I had that Illich type money to where, even Little Caesars got picked up by the NFL, use all that money and fund your baseball team. Like, just go all in on these guys, and I promise the city will support it if you put a winner on the field. I promise you.
What about you, Spence?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. I don't think they don't have any signs of being better next year unless we can get guys that can hit the ball. Obviously, it'll help if we have our pitching staff back and healthy with Casey Mize, Matt Manning. Hopefully, Skubal can come back. Maybe Erod actually plays a year. But, yeah, we need to see some hitters before I'm going to say they're going to be better.
And we just need a guy, right? We need somebody that we can galvanize all of us, that we can watch again. Even if it's like, I know asking for another Justin Verlander is very, very, very impossible to do. But, he wasn't on all of the best Tiger teams of all time. And it was just must-see JV. You had to watch one guy. We don't have that right now with the Tigers. We don't have that one guy that is must-watch baseball. Riley Green is about as close as we're going to get right now. And like you said, his stats aren't exactly through the roof. He'll get there. I'm a believer in Riley Green.
I mean, I am as well.
And it's funny, YT Sparty posts in the chat, Robbie Grossman had 2 residence runs in 320 plate appearances with the Tigers this season. He's had 2 homers in his first 30 plate appearances with the Atlanta Braves.
It's the curse. We're cursed.
Is this problem more so is the staff? Like, is there who are we blaming too much? Because we talk about Riley Green. That was one thing you brought up, Sam Flannel, about how disappointing he's been. But is there something bigger than just Riley Green? Like, the fact that Robbie Grossman can go to Atlanta and look like a serviceable player, like, what the hell? What's going on?
I mean, we were counting on Riley Green to save the team. I mean, even when he came back from injury, it looked really good at the beginning, and you can't expect that from him. I don't even blame Riley Green that much for having a subpar rookie year with some flash points. Yeah, like you need more around you than just Riley Green, and it's been shown that I think one of the biggest problems is player development. That's been, and injuries obviously with their pitching staff, but injuries and player development. And if we can't get that, and even when we spent money, it didn't turn out to be smart money, at least of yet. I would argue that Javier Baez, there's no chance he's going to be good for this team.
My old boss came in at a radio station and he cleaned house, right? He restructured every day part and everything, and he told me one time, and it was a very smart thing. He's like, you know what, Stick? Sometimes you just have to re-rack the whole thing. And that's what the Tigers need. They need to re-rack the entire organization all the way up and down, period.
And the best way to get away from all this BS, watching disappointment, in terms of organizationally with the Tigers, is you go to Big Boy.
That's right.
Go get a milkshake.
I wish Big Boy was our GM.
The Big Boy would kill it as GM. And they got the ciabattas, the summer salads, hand dip shakes, all at Big Boy. Try a chicken club, chicken cordon bleu, or a sunrise ham and cheddar, all on our grilled ciabatta bread. Don't forget to cool off with a nice hand dipped cookies and cream or strawberry shake. You heard it here first. Summer just got better at Big Boy.
Yeah, ciabatta. Put it in your mouth.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Welcome back. Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the show, but we still got a lot to talk about. Jeff Iafrate filling in for Neil Rule. You see the man over there, the man himself, Sam Stickday, filling in for Darren McCarty.
Okay, USA.
And we have a lot of things to get to. All right, Sam Flannel as well joining us, Spencer Raxter. Talking a little bit about the Detroit Pistons to end the show. And before we get to the next segment, actually, I'm going to preview it now. 12:50 is going to be the Ask Questions for the cast of Big D Energy. So right now, 12:50, drop your questions. But before we get to that, we got to spend some time on Jaden Ivey. I mean, how can you not? I'm excited for him in his rookie year. A lot of different expectations for him. And on From Half Court, we've come out with our predictions, as you can see right there. I got him 16-5-5. All right?
Okay.
Sean has him 17-5-6, and our guy Troy with a fat 9-2-5.
We all hate Troy. All my homies hate Troy.
Listen, and I got a couple thoughts on it. Listen, my stats speak for themselves. I think he'll have a good rookie year. I don't know. The efficiency numbers is a different question. I don't know what he's going to shoot from the field or from three. That's a whole other conversation. But in terms of just the numbers he puts up, I think 16-5-5 is a realistic expectation. But what about you, Stick? I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to you. What are your expectations for Jaden Ivey this year?
What did Cade end the season with? He was around that 16-5-5 mark.
He was
right?
actually 18 points. He was a little higher, but 18-5-5.
I expect Ivey to be more of our scorer, so I would put him damn near a 20-point-a-game guy, but I would limit the other statistics too. I don't think he's going to get a ton of assists because that's not going to be his role. He's going to be our slasher. He's going to be the guy that's coming off a pick and roll. He's going to be the guy that we get out in transition that Cade can rely on to use his speed and athleticism, throw him a lot of lobs, stuff like that. I will tell you this, though, man. I'm still thinking back to those Summer League games. When I saw Jaden Ivey do things in a Pistons uniform I have never seen any Piston player do. And I'm talking about Isaiah Thomas. And maybe Grant Hill is the only guy I've ever seen break down 5 players at once and dunk the ball. But Jaden Ivey, with that first step, being able to split defenders when they're coming at him for the double team, and then being able to adjust in the air when he gets down around the big men, honestly, I haven't seen that in a Pistons uniform, and I'm super excited to watch him this season. Me and Anson, we went to the DCFC game, and Anson, he's great at football, but basketball is his first love too.
Yeah.
And we had a long, in-depth conversation about what Jaden Ivey can be for the Pistons, and it's something very, very special.
And listen, his calling card is his athleticism. You talked about his first step, his ability to penetrate, create plays.
Hey, yo.
And, God, dude, I've had a lot of these moments. I'm glad. This is why Spence is the man, because he's catching me on all these. Pause on that as well. But listen, I mean, he has the ability to get up and down the floor. I think in transition, he's going to be very beneficial for the Pistons, because that's something last year we just didn't have. Cade, you get a rebound, who are you throwing it up to? Now you got Jaden Ivey going 100 miles per hour.
Yeah. And you got Jalen Duren running the wing, along with Bagley running the. You saw when Bagley got added to the team. Cade's assists went up because he could just throw it up near the rim, and Bagley would go get it. Now we got 3 guys on the court with Cade that can go up and go get it.
Yeah, no, you throw it up and let the guys do the rest. And you have Bagley, Duren, Ivey's going to be great this year. Brandon Katz said he's not going to average over 17 points a game this year. He needs to add weight, and he's not a consistent shooter yet.
He is. Did you watch the summer league games? Dude was raining it in from 3. He had a couple.
The
big
only
games.
thing I think I would agree with him in terms of being a consistent shooter, because we need a bigger sample size. But adding weight, I mean, I feel like that's every rookie. Like you got to add weight. I don't think that's probably the two.
You're not in your man body yet.
Yeah, like I'm not too concerned. I think have you seen how he's built? You can't deny the man is in shape. Like he's got a 6'10" wingspan, whatever it is, and the dude's shredded. So I get what you're saying, but. Listen, he'll be just fine. Cade is one thing. That's one thing he need to work on is add strength. How did he do his rookie year? Didn't get a lot of calls because of the lack of strength. But even though he was going to the basket, he still had a successful rookie year.
Cade looks beast mode, too, coming into this year. He looks like he's put on at least 10, 15 pounds of, pure muscle.
But that's the thing. From your rookie year to your second year, you add weight. That's the part of it.
And you
get
to learn
stronger.
what type of weight you want to add, right? Like, that's the difference between the NBA. And you saw it, back in the day with Michael Jordan. He knew, all right, I'm going to get my ass beat every time I play the Pistons. I got to get stronger in these ways. Not so much athleticism, not so much jumping ability, but I got to be able to start taking hits. So I got to get a little bit wider, a little bit bigger, stuff like that. But there's other players that need the strength to come with, I need more length, I need more athleticism, I need to be able to jump higher. So I think Cade understood, all right, I'm a big point guard. I'm going to be bodying people a lot. I need to put on some bulk. With Jaden, it may not be the bulk that he has to put on. He's just got to get more toned and use better cardio and stuff like that. So I think he'll learn what type of basketball shape he needs to be the most effective player.
And Terry said it best. He's like, whenever time I watch Jaden Ivey, he's always on the floor. And listen, the guy's going 100 miles per hour, so there's going to be points where to take contact, you're right. He's going to have to get stronger, so I'm not disagreeing you there. But Spence, listen, man, Jaden Ivey this year, his rookie season, what are your expectations? Give me some numbers, kind of like how we listed. What are you thinking about?
Yeah, I think it'll be 16, 3 assists, 5 boards, something like that. Because I agree with Stick that I don't see him being that facilitator as much as to average 5 assists on the season. Obviously, when Cade's off the floor, he'll be moving the ball around a lot, but I see him being that attack guy. I can see him going, for 16, 3, and 5. He's an athletic guy, so he can get in there and get some rebounds, even with the size that the Pistons added this year. I think he's going to have a good year. I expect him to play very well opposite of Cade Cunningham. Like you said, this is going to be one of the most exciting teams in the NBA in the full court to watch. If Cade comes down with a rebound, like you said, the guy... we had Kool-Aid on heavyweights. He talked about his all teabag team. When you have 5 guys on the floor that can put their nuts on the head of a defender. And so you have Hammy, you have Jaden, you have Jalen, you have Marvin running down the floor when Cade comes down with a rebound like that. It's going to be exciting to watch in transition. So that'll just be easier. That he's going to put a lot of pressure on the hoop, free up a lot of different lanes for cutters, free up guys from triple teaming Cade Cunningham all game. So I expect even not things that don't go in the stat sheet, he'll affect the game. Like I said, putting pressure on that hoop, being that secondary or third scorer, depending on what Sadiq Bey does. I expect him to all-around affect this team in great ways.
And I think one thing you just hit on, too, which is a great point, is some things we don't get to talk about with Jaden Ivey. It's offensively, but I think he's a way better defender than people give him credit for. I think he can be because of what he has physically. It's that God-given ability that he can utilize. Some things you just can't control, like your height, you can't fix. The guy's 6'4" with a 6'10" wingspan. Those type of players don't just grow on trees. All right, so I think physically, there's a lot of traits you like about Jaden Ivey when it comes to defensively as well.
Well, defense, he has the athleticism, and defense is
Yes.
all effort. Now it's does he have the mental fortitude to give that effort every single possession on the defensive end? That's it. That's honestly, he has the tools to be a great defender. You saw it during the Summer League game, blocking defenders from behind. Even when he would get beat, he had the speed to catch up and get back in front of them. So it's really about effort with him on the defensive end. Is he engaged? And, with Troy Weaver leading the way, you're going to have to be a defensive guard. That's part of the system we have here in Detroit. So I anticipate him really stepping that game up.
Yeah, you got the right coach in place. He's going to hold him accountable. But Sam Flano, I'm going to go to you. But before I do, man, this is the legend killer. All right, I'm about to give you Jaden Ivey. We haven't really gotten a chance to chop it up about Jaden Ivey. But the floor's yours, Sam. What are your expectations for him?
Well, first of all, I think Troy from half court, I mean, he's Jaden Ivey killing right now. 9-2-5. I would love just to hear his explanation. I'll definitely have to hear his explanation someday, because that would be a highly disappointing rookie season.
Yeah, 9 points.
To me.
Yeah.
I expect 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, something like that. But I also expect that maybe his efficiency isn't quite what I hope for, but you'll see a ton of flashes, and I think he'll be a better defender than you think. The thing about Jaden, than some people think, the thing about Jaden Ivey is that he just has that athleticism. That's something that is just like, he's going to step right in and be one of the most naturally gifted athletes in the NBA almost from day one, the most naturally gifted athlete on the Pistons. And what that gives you is the opportunity to create easy opportunities for yourself by being fast, by dribble penetrating, by just leaping, and by contorting your body at the rim in ways that the average person can't do. I don't think he's going to shoot very well from 3. That's just my opinion. But I also don't think he's going to shoot you out of games necessarily because his teammate is Cade Cunningham. I don't think Cade Cunningham is going to I think he's going to be the guy that takes most of the shots. He's not going to allow a guy like Jaden Ivey to do something like that. And, you got Sadiq Bey, Marvin Bagley, even Alec Burks, guys who can take some of the shots. So I expect Jaden Ivey's rookie season to be successful-ish, but not like rookie of the year or anything. Like I said, 14, 5, and 3 on something like 43% from the floor and 32% from 3.
What are your numbers, Stick, before we go to break? Give me a quick little stat line.
I'll do 18, 3, and 3.
Okay, I like it. I think we're all kind of in the same ballpark as it is. But guys, drop your questions. We're going to get to Mailbag for everybody. Sam, Spence, me, and Stick.
Before you get to that, though, I want to mention, over the weekend, the assistant GM for the Pistons, his name's Rob Murphy.
Yeah.
He was with the Motor City Cruise. And he posted a picture over the weekend. The entire team went to the Baby concert. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, Tom Gores put it on.
Yeah, and it's awesome that these guys are spending time together. They're becoming a team. They're becoming like a complete unit together, which to me you cannot compete with. And he posted that picture, and I shot him a DM, and I was like, man, I was just saying, hey, it's great to see that these guys are becoming a family. You guys are setting us up for greatness. And his response was, yes, a great group of guys. Future looks bright. All high character young men who get along and care about each other. This has been amazing to experience and witness. So even the high-end GM guys, the assistant GM, are seeing something special in the way these guys are clicking.
I love Rob Murphy, man. He's a great human being.
The best.
We had him on the morning show about a year ago, I think.
You got to get him on Woodward Pistons soon.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Rob Murphy, you're the man. But before, we're going to go to break real quick, but we got to hear about our friends from the Academy of Warren.
Academy! This Friday, the Bottom Line is going to be broadcasting out there. They're having a huge fair. There's going to be all types of food, all types of games, and you can go enroll at the Academy of Warren. They have AM, PM latchkey, small classroom sizes, and an absolutely beautiful facility. I went out there the other day to check where we're going to be broadcasting from. It is so nice there. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check it out. Plus, if you have a kid that's into athletics, they have a state-of-the-art field house, and it was so cool going in there. The only thing that I hated, my wrist is fractured right now. I couldn't go in there and shoot hoops because that gym was calling my name. So enroll now, academyofwarren.net. It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the Heavyweights Facts are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Hey, it's Scott from the Woodward Bet Show. Hey, it's Monday. We don't like Mondays. But you know what we do like? We do like some fantasy football, and we like fun coupons. We got you covered over here at 4:30 at the Woodward Bets YouTube page. You guys also got to make sure you get over to that App Store and download oddstrader.com. It's got live scoring, play-by-play updates, the best place to check all the odds sports books right in the palm of your hands. But hey, let's get to them fun coupons. We got a big matchup in MLB today, Yankees versus Mets. Max coming into town. Sounds good to me. You know what? I'm rolling with the Yankees on the money line and the over. oddstrader.com. Woodward Bets. Check it out.
Welcome back. Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network, and we're coming to a close. Jeff Iafrate filling in for Neil Rule, Sam Stick Day in for Darren McCarty. Those guys will be back tomorrow. We got Sam Flannel, we got Spencer Rackster, and we're going to Mailbag. It's time for you guys to drop your questions, and I'm going to start with the away fan, because this is a good question. Gentlemen at WSN, which Detroit franchise has the best scouting team and why? We'd love to hear from each of you. Great show today. Much love. Shout out to the away fan. You're a real one. But Stick, I'll start with you. What is the best scouting team out of all the franchises? Eliminate the Tigers. Throw them in the trash.
I was going to say, I can tell you the worst right off the top of my head, and that's the Detroit Tigers. Best...
It's early in the process, but I mean, who has been most impressive to you?
Steve Yzerman and the Red Wings.
That would be mine.
That's impressive because they did a redraft, and Mo Sider would have went first if they did a redraft. And whenever you can steal a guy that would probably be the potential #1 overall pick, that's good. But I'm going to go with Lions just because of what I've seen out of Amon-Ra St. Brown being picked up in the 4th round. Brad Holmes and his history of drafting players, what he was with the Rams and pulling guys out of the late rounds. So I got to go with the Lions so far just because I have literally seen it transition from the draft to on the field immediately. Hockey sometimes takes a year or two. They draft a guy, he goes, plays in a different system, then he finally gets on the ice. So I got to go with it. And you can't knock the Pistons either.
No, it's really like a 1A, 1B, 1C kind of
thing. Lions are my 1A.
You're going to go with Lions. I'm going to go with the Red Wings just because they have more. You got to scout globally as well. So I think that's another part of hockey that doesn't get talked about enough. Steve Yzerman can find these guys even overseas. It's a tough one. I'm going to give the edge to the Red Wings, although I love the Pistons, their scouting department, and I love the Lions as well. It's not a knock on any team if you don't choose them. But Spence, what about you? Who's your 1A for the scouting department?
Well, you had two guys this year that were one won the Rookie of the Year. The other was top 5 in Rookie of the Year voting. Both of them under, the 6th overall pick. And then you look at the young guys that haven't even been brought in yet with Soderblom, with Evanson, with Bergeron. Like, those guys are going to be names in this league. And on top of that, I mean, if you want to go back in history, I know we're talking about right now, but like, Datsuk was like a 9th round pick. Zetterberg was like a 7th round pick. Like, these are Hall of Famers that you're pulling out like that. So I got to go with the Red Wings.
What about you, Sam?
To me, it's the Red Wings as well, and I'll make this one brief. Getting Mo Sider and Lucas Raymond in 2 consecutive drafts in which Red Wings fans were hoping they would get the #1 pick, and then pulling out Mo Sider and Lucas Raymond in the Lose for Hughes draft and the Lafreniere draft, respectively. That is just, I think people have even underrated how phenomenal that was.
No, hey, listen, we're all kind of mutually agree. Again, there's no knock. It doesn't mean the Lions aren't good. It doesn't mean the Pistons aren't good. It's your preference.
It's just who's the best.
It's who's the best. And listen, I'm gonna try and get to a lot of these questions. I'm sorry if I don't get to all of them. Mailbag, Honolulu Blue Sparty asks, Jeff, what would be the Pistons' record if Casey gets fired? That's a tough one. I don't think he gets fired.
I was going to say, that's almost a disrespectful question.
Yeah,
Casey's
honestly,
not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's not getting fired.
He's a part of the culture here. He's a part of what Troy Weaver wants for our future. He's the best coach for this team right now. And we're talking about how this team has bonded. A lot of that has to do with your coach.
It does.
Attitude reflects leadership, and I hate to talk about anybody wanting Troy Weaver out of here. You may question some of his rotations, but what the hell was he going to rotate last year?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So, you can't tell a chef to cook you a great meal and hand him nothing to cook you with.
I was going to say, who's getting the groceries?
Yep.
And Troy Weaver now is a guy who can get the right players. So I don't think I'm going to keep preaching this. Dwayne Casey will transition in the front office. He's too valued. Like, he's too respected. I don't know if you get fired. The guy hasn't been really set up for success anyway. I love Dwayne Casey. I do want to get to another couple of these questions. Mailbag, which organization do you think will make a major trade or free agency signing, and who do you hope it will be?
I hope it's the Lions.
Yeah,
honestly.
marquee free agent. Yeah, Lions.
Make the play. Roquan Smith, let's do it, man. We need help on defense. Just do something. Like, if you see a problem, address it. And we maybe wait until next year when our salary cap is actually absolutely through the roof. But I don't know, man. The Lions got to make a play. The Pistons, I think, they have a good young core. If we go get Kevin Durant, you go get a Kevin Durant. But outside of that, who else you really want to bring in for the Pistons right now?
It's a great
Red
point.
Wings, we need a goalie. I could see them going after a big-time goalie.
Yeah, who do I hope will make free agency signings? I go with the Tigers. But
any signing. That's right, Ryan Lentz.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan Lentz. Go with the Tigers. But it's a great question. What about you, Spence? What's a team you're hoping to make a splash in free agency?
I'm going Lions as well. Like you said, the Pistons, they have the young core. We're not really ready to bring in a guy to put us over the top yet, and that's what the NBA is if you're going to make a big splash like that, it's a guy that's going to win you a championship. So they're not ready to do that yet. The Red Wings, they're waiting on the young guys. They might sign, I would love to see them sign, a Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews in the next couple of years, but they're still waiting on these young guys to come up. So I want to see the Lions, make a trade or sign somebody, hopefully, after Goff's gone, or we draft a rookie quarterback and can move on.
Quit rooting for your pilot to crash the plane, bro.
The plane's going down.
Stop it! No, Goff is an excellent pilot. He's going to keep us there.
Goff is not an
We're all going to
excellent
applaud when we land, like the idiots on the plane.
Goff is like Spirit Airlines. Like,
it'll
get the job done.
But guess what? Spirit Airlines has never had a crash.
Yeah.
Tell them.
Is that true?
Hey, that's true. Out of all the airlines, Spirit Airlines has never. So you may dog them,
but they get you there.
They get you there. You may have to endure some fights on your way there. Maybe get shanked in the tarmac, but you'll get there.
You might see like exposed wires if you look up.
You may be livestock underneath while you're traveling, but Spirit Airlines will get you there.
Last question, and this is kind of a fun one to close out the show. Cobezilla asks, Mailsack, will Sam accept a bet if Tom Kennedy makes the Lions roster? Will he wear something other than a flannel? And Sam, quickly before the
Tom
show
Kennedy
ends,
jersey. That's what he's wearing.
That would be funny. How many days has it been?
121.
121.
No, he can't. He needs to do 365 days.
He has to, guys. Like we're on. It's bigger than
it's
this.
bigger than
It's
us.
bigger than Tom Kennedy.
It's bigger
It's
than
way bigger than Tom Kennedy.
It's way bigger than every individual in this room. He needs to hit 365. But I want to say thank you guys before we end the show. To every one of you for tuning in, supporting the show. Even D-Mac out, Neil Rule. You guys continue to come back and support the show, support the network. So I want to say thank you.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget on your way out, drop a like, show some support, subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate every one of you. And until tomorrow, Neil Rule, D-Mac will be back. But for now, Stick, Jeff, Sam Flannel, and Spencer Raxter. We'll see you tomorrow. Big D Energy. See you later.
Big D.